microphone is on. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Black Nerd Problems on Monday nights. For that, so Tiffie, it's me, Tiffie Starchild, and I have here joining me Omar, or Ghost in the HTML. He will be joining me tonight for chatting about Moon Knight and such things. And then probably later, as we do, we will be getting into some Ghost of Tsushima because that's what we also like to play as well. But yeah, welcome, Omar. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course, I'm always down to talk about the man of the moon of the night.
The Man in the Moon.
Hmm.
Yeah, perfect. So we can jump right into it because this episode was very crazy.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it.
I
You know
mean,
what?
I guess
This is
we can.
wild.
I'm straight to the point. We said this is gonna be a Moon Knight episode, so I'm like, let's talk about Moon Knight. I guess how was your day? We can start with that.
The days blend in together. You know what I mean? It's all just one
Time
long
doesn't
endless
exist,
stream. It doesn't exist. It never existed.
right?
How was your day?
Well, now that you've reminded me that time doesn't exist, I don't know this day, yesterday, last night. What is it? It was. It's
You know who you sound like?
who?
Mark fucking Spector. Let's get into this shit.
Okay, so the last episode, because I have to go in with where we left off. And then for those that don't know, like Omar, I mean, everyone knows that you come in with a whole lot of comic book experience and knowledge just at all times. It's very cool. You're saying it's shaky, but I've seen you just pull facts and things out of nowhere.
If I'm just making up the entire time.
You might be.
No one just fact checks me. I just make it up
You
the
just
entire
say things. You
time.
say it with authority, and you use your hands, so we don't question you. But for this, yeah, exactly. So for the purposes of this, though, I will
Mhm.
defer to see why people want to message me as I'm phone quiet for forever, and as soon as I start streaming, people want to get in contact. But I am doing my best as someone to give the audience some perspective, as someone that is
Sure.
enjoying the show and really likes Marvel shows and things like that, and the comic book knowledge that I have. Not only
Hmm.
is it minimal compared to yours, but I don't know anything about Moon Knight at all, so my knowledge is very much whatever the show itself presents and nothing more. Meanwhile, you have a lot of comic book knowledge about that, so that's just where we're coming from.
No
um
problem.
yeah. uh so in the last episode, that's when we
Hmm.
saw the audience with the gods. And even though we said on the last week when we talked about the episode, you, Tasha, and I um touched on the fact that the head god, the avatar for the gods when they were having their council meeting or whatever, is this white man, even though they're
Hmm.
supposed to be portraying Egyptian gods. It wasn't until I saw a tweet that you shared on Instagram today for Black Nerd Problems, where people were talking
Hmm.
about there were very few black people in that entire setup. And that's not something that I noticed. So I just thought, even though that was last week's episode
Hmm.
and we touched on it
Hmm.
a little bit, I thought it was worth mentioning again because that completely got past me. Do you have any opinions on why they might do that besides just like it's mainstream and it's Disney, so
I fit. I got opinions about that. I guess it is mainstream in Disney. I really don't think maybe it's is that you're the actress, so you would know better than I if that's like colorblind casting, and it's like, oh, we just this is a person for a part, blah 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 blah, or maybe in their eyes is to show like, oh, like how modern the world is, whatever this person is avatar. Like it could be anybody, whatever. But I'm also like, you're in a region that's in Africa, and as you were talking about that post, someone was like, oh, I mean, that's more of a Middle Eastern country. I'm like, dog, which has been such a like debate. I'm gonna do a small little trick and channel my father's voice for a minute. Like the whole like not that's rooted in racism, but like Egypt is Middle East. I'm like, dog, that thing is North Africa. Sure, folks came over from like Rome, Greece, and whatnot, but like it is North Africa. There were dark skinned pharaohs as well. You know what I'm saying? So cool, we can have a bunch of brown folks. Sure, I mean if that's the climate, like yeah. Still, I'm pretty sure there's still dark skinned people there. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
I agree in a big way.
Yeah. So
Um
like,
oh no, do you think that, because you said something that triggered maybe an idea, do you think they represent the head guy? What's his name? Osiris? And I
mm,
apologize. Egyptian mythology is not one that I'm familiar with. So
mm,
what might be obvious to someone else, I don't know. But do you think Osiris, that being the head god and having his avatar be a white man, do you think that that's something that the gods elected to have recognizing how flawed the human world is, because it could be a commentary just on the state of the world that the head Egyptian
You're right.
god chooses his avatar to be a white man who holds the most power in the world. Like, maybe that could be intentional. I think it's done. I
Yeah,
think without having the space in the show to dive into something like that, it's kind of,
you're right. You're
yeah.
entirely right. That's a really good analysis. That's a really really good analysis. I'm like, oh shit, yeah,
Thanks.
but I don't give a damn. Make that man black. Give me one dude. That man in a fucking Wall Street suit, man. You know, get the hell out my face, man. Look like Niles from fucking Frasier. Nah, dog. I like Niles. One of my favorite characters
I
too.
was gonna
But
say, but we're not
that is
gonna get on him now.
I love Niles. I love Niles and Daphne Moon. Come on now. But that is a very good analysis. But I wish we had like if that was explored in the show, I'd be like, all right, but
Right,
like I know that when I highly doubt that nuance is there. Maybe
right.
it's to show like oh like how Egypt is now like because it's the modern world or whatever. But like even if you did that like one dark have your color cast cool. One dark skin person, one dark skin, which is the two those two women of color. One was dark skin, and like she had
One
like
was
maybe two lines, like two. My friend
right.
Pages from a poet from DC was like, my man, he's like, I had to IMDb them, man. They had like two quick camera pans to them, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and I think that's also kind of an issue with them having these short runs of these shows. Why?
yes,
Why 6 episodes? We can probably explore. I don't know. That seems kind of bold also on episode 4 after episode 4 just finished. Um
mm-hmm.
saying give us more episodes and we can possibly explore more within the television show, because we don't know how it's going to wrap up. We don't know how it's going to
Yeah, yeah,
end. We don't know if this deserves 2 more episodes. It just seems like maybe if they didn't from jump limit it to 6 episodes, 45-minute episodes for the season, we can have the time and the space to explore more of the intricacies of what makes these characters and things like that. Because if it was an intentional decision for that kind of commentary, it makes sense. If it's
yeah,
just something that they did because they typically will cast a white male in a lead role, and we as fans are good at finding reasons to put things together, even if that's not actually the case, and that to
yeah.
me is like sloppy writing.
You just broke down the whole coded character shit, man, in 2022. Man, that was real. That was. I mean, we're gonna have to clip this part. We're gonna have to clip this whole part. We're gonna put it to you. That's a really good take.
Well, I mean, it was something that you said where I was just like, huh. And I like how that's not even from this week's episode. That was last week's
This was
episode,
last
so
week.
that we
Yeah.
had an
Did you?
audience. Hmm?
Oh, I was gonna ask. Did you? Speaking of like, I guess before we move on to the next this week's, the people were saying like, oh, the Avatar at Bass was there, and I'm like,
Was that
Bass is. I don't. Are we just assuming the dark skinned one was Avatar at Bass? Because I'm like,
that's
Bass is a
what
Wakandan god, though. So why would it be over in Egypt?
is Bass not also an Egyptian cat god? You know who has the answer?
Oh, I think you're right. I think you're right.
But here's the only place I know that from. You know that the Halle Berry Catwoman,
Oh yeah,
that's because the
yeah,
cat
yeah, yeah. You're
wouldn't
right. I
breathe
forgot.
down her throat.
Oh, you know what? It is. They would be Egyptian because there's a comic book scene where Black Panther goes become the king of the dead. Boss is wearing a like it looks like a pharaoh's crown in a sense. So yeah.
Did
Oh, that does make okay. Never mind. That does
and
make sense. But I
yeah,
also
because
like no, no. I'm sorry.
oh no, no, no. What I was thinking of where Bast was in Black Panther, she wasn't in Black Panther in the issue I read. It was Worlds Apart with Storm, where she has to
Hmm.
fight the Shadow King, and so Bast hides within her and fucks him up. But it had nothing. Oh, is the Shadow King? Does he have ties to Egypt?
He fought. That's where he was chilling when he was messing with Storm. I think that's where they're based at. I don't know. I don't know the character that well. To that's one character I know. I know it's like this guy shows up, gets fucked up sometimes, be possessing people on some dick shit.
Right, right. That's understandable. I mean, I'm surprised. I'm going to jot this down as a note later. Like, I found a piece of comic book knowledge that Omar did not know. And I think that point
It
to
happens. It
Tiffy.
happens so often. It happens so often.
I very rarely see it. But I think that people are assuming that the black woman is Bast, which I don't know if they gave any clues
Yeah, that's what I'm
as
like.
to her. But I am looking, and we still have recapping the previous episode, but one of the notes I made for this episode was and it referred back to something I said about the first episode, how I feel like this show can exist outside of the MCU, and for me it
Mm-hmm.
makes it a good show because it's strong. It's not relying on what we already know about these other heroes. But I do
Mm-hmm.
like finding even a small link to link it back to
Oh yeah.
anything familiar from within the MCU. And I understand that that's not Storm because we don't have Storm in the MCU, but I do like there even being a vague connection between the avatar of Bast being a black woman that's there at this council meeting, while Bast has also interacted with the Shadow King and with Storm directly. I have no faith at all that Marvel and Disney will explore this, but it just makes me happy. So
Mm-hmm.
so we also had the star map. We had our origami star map to find this tomb. And then at the end of that, Khonshu was imprisoned. It wasn't until
Mm-hmm.
I saw the recap of this episode this week where Haro says, "Is that how Haro
Horus.
Horus
Horus.
Horus?
Horus.
The guy's name
Horus.
is Horus."
The god, right? Horus.
No, the
The
guy, Ethan Hawke's character.
Oh, I'm sorry, Harrow. Harrow.
Harrow,
I thought you
Harrow.
were saying the god Horus. That's
I'm
right.
like, I don't
Harrow.
think that
Arthur
I know of
Harrow.
the
Yeah.
god Horus. I'm like, I don't think
Yeah, that's what I was
that
like.
he's named the same as Ethan Hawke's character. But one thing that he says to the statue of Khonshu, he says, "Your torment forced me. I owe my victory to you," which I didn't
Yeah.
catch last week. But going back to the constant like self-inflicted pain that he puts himself through, like walking on the glass and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and just finding a way to link it all back to Khonshu. So that's what happened at last week's episode. He did the thing. He rewound the sky. Everything has been to try to get over to Ahmet's tomb. I'm gonna lean on you a little heavily because I do not understand this show. I
Okay.
do not when it comes to, like, for me it's, why are we in the desert now? Why are we looking for are we sealing her in the tomb so she doesn't? So what is happening up until this point? Help us, please. Help me, please. I'm
This is gonna be a really good test of my memory because I saw it once and Tasha's like, "Oh, let's watch it closer to Monday." I'm like, "I'm not gonna sit here and wait. I might see some spoilers or something." I'm like, "Nah." All right, so they're riding toward. I mean, do you remember the episode? They're riding toward. We got first of all get a little nod to Indiana Jones with Layla fighting off dudes while Stephen Mark Moon Knight is knocked out when she defeats those armed guards or whatever by tossing down the flare onto the bullets, and the bullets like ricochet everywhere and kill a dude. And I was like,
in
"Oh,
the episode. Yes.
yeah." Then
Yeah,
the
yeah,
back
yeah.
up, like, okay. Now
Okay.
they head toward the dig site, and they're scoping around because, like, all right,
I'm
Harrow's already
sorry.
gone
No,
down.
so you're going into the episode, and that's fine. You don't have to do that from memory if you don't want to.
Oh,
I
oh,
mean, up until this point, what led us to going to the desert?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I phrased the question funny, but like,
Yeah,
what led
sorry.
us to the thing? Thank you for lurking. We appreciate you being here. And I got to see that the chat window is working, so I guess I could have put something in the chat, but that would have made too much sense. What led them
Got you.
to know to follow the stars to get us to the desert? That's where this show lost me.
Got you. So, because Harrow already knew because Harrow had the scarab, right? It led them to Amnet's tomb, resting place. They're like, "Oh, well, fuck." He went to and then they went to the Council of the Gods to try and stop Harrow. That didn't work out. Remember that woman that talked to us like, "Yo, Mark, let me
Yeah,
holler
yeah,
at you real
yeah,
quick."
yeah.
All right, you need to stop this. I know he's on some fuck shit. You need to stop this shit. And he's like, "Oh, but I ain't got the scarab." He's like, "Fuck." She was like, "Fuck a scarab." The other person that knew where Amet was buried was the person that sealed them in the sarcophagus. The person that did it, right? It was a person that buried them. So find their sarcophagus. It'll lead to where Amet is buried. That's why they found that black market arms dealer that Layla knew.
Is
He
that
had the sarcophagus. Remember?
no? Is that
Okay, but this is back still in episode 3. That's where they went to. Like, oh, I know the guy that has the sarcophagus of the guy that physically sealed Ahmet away.
okay?
That's what they went there, and then remember the whole like scarves and whatnot that was on the sarcophagus. That was the clue. That was what was folded into the star.
Okay. Oh
That's
my
what.
god,
Yeah.
I
So
missed that
yeah,
100%.
That's why they folded it into a star. It led to where Amet was buried. However, the stars, the constellations, resembled that night two
And
thousand
that's
years
why he
ago.
rewound the
That's why he
sky.
had to. That's why he had to. We gotta. You had to park it in reverse real quick, just to, just to bring it. Yeah, to bring it back. So that's why Harold is there now at that tomb with the dude that's sealed away. Well, I'm sorry, at Amet's tomb, and now they found their way there as well because of the person that sealed their away originally, the person that originally designed their prison.
So in this episode,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay. I mean, would you feel more comfortable going in like in order of the episode, or just like as something comes up, just discussing it, even if it's out of order?
Tiffany, this is your internet. We just stream on it. However you want to roll is cool with me.
I appreciate you saying that. That's what I was thinking, but I don't want to be you the guest. I
Follow
don't
my
want you to
logic
give me
here.
the
All right,
option
cool.
like guest choice. Fuck that. I'm gonna choose. Okay, so we could jump
Mm-hmm.
around. So when they're at the tomb,
Ahmet's tomb.
so okay, so the
Mm-hmm.
folding the star map was to find
Yep.
Ahmet's tomb. When they
Yep.
go to Ahmet's tomb and ultimately
Yep.
find Alexander the Great's sarcophagus,
Yeah. Yeah.
so he
Yeah.
was buried in. So they know that they're in Ahmet's tomb, but there's
Yeah.
so
They're
much going on that they're just like, where do we find? Is
well. So to jump ahead, um, they're finding the reveal was okay. There's a tomb in here, and it's
right
like, all right, cool. This was the avatar of Ahmet. The avatar betrayed them
because
and sided
right,
with the
she's a
gods.
god. She's okay because she's a god. She's
Yeah,
not a
Ahmet's
human.
Ahmet's avatar betrayed her and went and worked with the gods.
Oh,
So
oh.
therefore,
Did
yeah,
they
yeah. So they
say
were.
that in the show up until this point?
I think it was a quick. It was like a quick reference.
Okay, because I promise you, I pay attention. I put
Yeah,
my
yeah.
phone away because I will never forget. So that has stuck in my
Hmm.
head, not being on my phone while a show is on. But I still miss things. I miss everything. It's
Hmm.
very frustrating.
And
So
so that's why, like, oh, that's why he was like, wait, this isn't written in hieroglyphs. This is Macedonian. Oh shit, this is Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was her avatar.
so
So that's like
Alexander the
the.
Great was her
Mm-hmm.
avatar, but
Mm-hmm.
Alexander the Great betrayed her
Yes,
and worked with the gods
to seal her,
to
and he was
seal
called.
her. And
Mhm. And
that's
he
when
was
they
the. Mhm. And he was the voice of Ahmet.
That's what they meant by the oh.
Because it
Hi
wouldn't just be because like all right,
Alicia.
they opened the sarcophagus. They're like, oh shit, like where's the statue? Where's the little I forgot what it was called.
The
The little
wait, I know this.
it's oh
Hold on.
something. I'm
No
gonna
wait,
call it
no
a
say
trinket.
a trinket. You
where's
gonna
the,
say it out
where's the
loud.
knickknack? Where's the little knickknack? And it's like, where is it? Well, like, oh well, if it's
Them
being
little
sealed
statue
away,
things they be selling at Disneyland, yeah.
they're like, oh, if it's sealed away, they have a hiding spot for it that isn't obvious. And like, oh shit, he was the voice of Ahmet as the Avatar. So crack that open and just there we go.
He went all the way up to the rings
Yeah,
on that one. He
he,
went up to the
he
rings.
yeah, he throwed him. He throwed Alexander the Great, and
There were so many throat jokes that were
yes, yes,
available to me, and I'm just like, I'm
yes,
not gonna do it.
he throwed at the goat, if you will,
He oh,
because it's Alexander
so
the
much in that
Great.
moment, and it was wild to me because like obviously, like I said, I don't really know Egyptology like that, but
Mhm.
I know names like Alexander the Great is
The
kind of a
Great,
big
yeah.
deal. So it's just kind of wild that they glanced over it so quickly. That Stephen Grant, this person that loves Egyptology and all of this so much, rips open the jaw of Alexander the Great to take out
Hmm.
the little thing. Wait,
When
I'm
he,
gonna find
he
what this word is.
when he was like going against the thing, he was really excited. He's like, "Well, what the fuck? What the fuck?" You're like, "This like the languages doesn't match up. This Macedonian. Oh shit, Alexander the fucking Great." And I'm just like, "Oh shit, we got another white dude up in this motherfucker. Why?
Cause that's what they
Why?"
said. Because they was gonna get their white men in.
Yeah,
Dadgummit. They said we're okay. It's a brown people story. Technically,
technically. So
technically.
like, so I mean, it's dope nod to history, but I'm like, there's other people there
So
from Egypt.
none of that, all of that was is not what they were doing in the comics. Is what you're
That's
was
all.
what
Yeah,
I'm
that's just new.
getting.
This is MCU. So yeah, this is in the MCU universe. Alexander the Great was Ahmet's the voice of Ahmet.
Okay. Okay, because I was really having trouble. Like, for me, it doesn't make the show any less enjoyable. Not knickknacks. Yes, he said knickknacks. Um,
That's it.
it doesn't make the show any less enjoyable, but I have a hard time following. Just I'm like, how did we get here?
Mhm.
Why are we? Why is he reaching down this mummy's throat? And I know that stank. I know that was awful.
This shit nasty.
It was. That's exactly when I had tapped out. I'd have been like, listen, I'm
Like,
not. I'm not the one. And for
sometimes
food,
motherfuckers gotta be judged. Sometimes motherfuckers gotta be judged before they do shit. Whatever, man. I ain't put my hands on that. That's nasty.
that's real nasty. That's centuries worth. Oh, and what's the note I actually what I put down? Oh, if I die, please don't hide anything in my throat. I don't know whose avatar I was, and that seems terrible. That seems like punishment. Don't. I don't. I don't get honored somehow in
Hmm.
the afterlife. You gonna
Hmm.
stick that down my throat? I would. That's very
I know I'm
disrespectful.
hiding my shit, literally.
Down.
Where would he hide it? Omar's a sick fucking guy, man. I don't know if you want to answer this. Like, fuck it. We ain't gotta say the world that bad.
Have you
This dude
that
was
won't
sick.
stop that won't stop some have you ever seen Once Upon a Time in Mexico with Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was looking for I'll never forget that. I wasn't jaded by the world yet. So that moment really took me out in that movie.
You want to jump back to the beginning now when they go their way into the
Um
pyramid?
yeah, from we can go
'Cause-
back to whatever. I have a quick question. I mean, it's
we can do whatever. Now I know what the fuck is going on. We can jump back to the future, get your Marty
we can
McFly,
go
man. Whatever.
anywhere we want to because I'm on the same
Yeah.
motherfucking
Go
page.
ahead. Go ahead.
Do you think it was ethical? I got a question about ethics. Do you think it was ethical for Layla to try to kiss Steven? Because here's my thinking.
Okay. Yeah. All
Right,
right.
right, 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 right. So, like, as we know, Steven and Mark share a body. There were a lot of
Mm-hmm.
questions that I had early in the episode. I think even last week, I was just like, who came first? Was it Mark? Was it Steven? Is it because of Khonshu? Like, what's happening here? But
Yeah.
Mark and Layla totally married. Mark is breaking it off with her. I made the connection between when Darian tried that in the 90s Sailor Moon. So she was up in front of her refrigerator crying in the middle of the night. And I really resonated with that. But for Layla to look at Steven and see probably the things that she saw that made her fall in love with Mark,
Yes.
even though Mark is her husband and Steven
Mm-hmm.
has a crush on Layla,
Mm-hmm.
Layla wasn't trying to kiss Steven. She was trying to kiss Mark, and they just
Oh,
happened to share a body. Do you think that that's kind of weird? Or is it
listen,
like
I'm down.
whatever?
You gotta be. This is the MCU. You gotta be down for some weird shit, man. I mean, they got giant green motherfuckers jumping around here. There's a woman that altered reality. I thought actually, you know what? I thought that she was because Steven ruined the moment. That was Steven in the moment, and she's liked. It seemed that she liked Steven more and more fond of them throughout this journey. And I guess we'll jump into the end a little bit when we're seeing the clues of how Steven's personality came to be. Um, that's a really good question. I mean I want we all human. We all get swept up in the moment. But I thought what I did like was Steven blurting out that the reason why Mark's been doing this is because of this.
Right.
But maybe that's guilt in a sense of on their behalf. I don't know why I said it that. It wasn't Mark that pushed that out. It was just his.
Right.
It was just his nature, their nature to do that. And then that was such an awkward kiss afterwards. Because then when you said Layla kissed them, I was like, wait. But I was like, oh wait. He said that it made it weird, and then Steven went in for it.
Yeah, because Layla Steven said something. They had
Yeah.
a moment and she was like, "Oh, that's very Mark-like." So she goes in to try to kiss
I got
him.
you.
Yeah,
Got you,
that's
got
what
you.
it was in the beginning, but at that point like it really doesn't matter the reason why Mark
with you.
wanted a divorce. He didn't want one, and he's clearly not in control of the body where this other Steven person is. So you don't have Mark's consent.
Got you.
I don't know. That's how my brain works. Like I don't see
I got you.
like a romantic lovers reuniting moment. I'm just like flag on the play. I don't do sports, so I don't know if that's how that works. But that's
What's
like,
interesting about what's also interesting about his condition, because I forget, like, everyone thinks, oh, it's just multiple personality disorder. Well, no, he also has dissociative identity disorder, which is why Steven knows certain things, like the whole like being able to chart the maps and everything, being able to find the constellations onto that map, and his whole like knowledge of Egyptian lore and history and whatnot, and why Mark doesn't, and why Steven doesn't remember Mark's like fighting skills and whatnot, because it belongs to the identity. It doesn't, even though it's the same
Right.
body, they are shared between the personalities. Only the personality
Right.
holds that and whatnot. So I went, oh, yeah, that's so like that's really really interesting, and they've done a really good job of that throughout the show as well. I guess we're gonna see more of it after this episode too.
Yes, because of that. Are you talking about the third sarcophagus?
I mean, unless you want to talk about that now, I'm following your timeline wherever you want to jump to. Yeah,
We'll
we
wait to
going
get
back
there
through time.
since that's the big reveal.
Okay.
Quick observations. All of these statues are so little. If I was a god, I'm just saying, first of all, don't put wait, no, this is because these are the things I think about. Maybe this is why I miss the details of the show, because my brain is off somewhere on something else
Hmm.
completely. But some quick observations. One, if I'm the avatar, don't put nothing down my throat. I've already said that, but
Hmm.
I just really want to reiterate that and
Got you.
jot
Got
that
you.
down. If I'm a god and you imprison me in stone, I want a big statue. I don't want no fucking
Hmm.
statuette that you can find in the museum gift shop. I
I
want an
think that might
Aang
be.
size statue.
Do you think that's maybe a commentary on that? Because I mean, you're a prisoner in this giant statues, and be kind of hard to break you out. But like this omnipresent, like omnipotent, like being, whatever gets into the small little statue. You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of like shows like a humbling in a sense as well. That might be fun. I mean, you ain't gotta fuck with it. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Because like gets into this small
I'm
little
not
thing. But
making
like
that
if we have
face
a
because
if we lock Tiffy in this giant bronze statue, okay, we gotta break her out. How the fuck we breaking her out? I'm like, goddamn, big ass statue. She know damn well we ain't got fucking 50 jackhammers and shit. The walls are
she
still, you
wanted a
know.
big statue.
Statue. As long as someone could just be like that, and they're like, all right, that's free. All right, cool.
Does that free them or does that kill them?
Or freedom, because they're just imprisoned in there. I don't think a god. I don't think NERD rules, like no one ever really dies. Well, for gods at least.
That's interesting. I didn't know that was a rule. I guess I never
I mean, no,
like.
I'm joke. I mean, that's a joke.
Oh,
Like I'm just I'm saying
or
maybe that's a
even
rule. You know what
that
I mean?
makes sense even as a idea, as an abstract concept. Like you can't kill a god, but you can imprison them.
I mean,
That makes
technically,
sense to make them a small statue.
I am wrong in that because the whole with dipping over to Thor for a second. Thor is dealing with Gore the God Butcher. This guy that's literally going around killing gods. So I mean, even gods can die. Even gods can't get the fade. But I would think like that's just a jail that you're breaking them out of. I would think.
Okay, that makes sense though because no, I was offended. I'm like, I don't want something that can be in the palm. Don't put me in the palm of your
In
hand
a
or like
keychain? You
you
got me in a keychain?
right. I am dildo sized right now and I don't like that one little bit. I don't like where that I can be put into some type of anywhere. I just don't like that because if I end up in the wrong hand, someone would put me up their booty hole, and I don't like that. I don't like that.
You're gonna be on. You're gonna be on the.
They put her down his throat. Was that the first fucking place they tried?
I'm thinking Target and knickknacks. You thinking After Dark to it. I get it though.
They
But not.
was
I
into
mean,
that shit. They was into
I
that.
mean, it's the voice of Ahmet, and you're trying to hide it so that no one's like, oh fuck, it's not in here, and I guess no common grave robber would like think to do that. I get where you're coming from though. I get where you're coming from though. I get it.
These are the thoughts that I be
I get it.
having.
I get it. I mean, I cannot wait to see the TikToks and with it. So.
Let me write down a note to make some TikToks.
But that Moonlight content. Somebody gonna put me.
Put me in their booty hole. Please don't. Please don't. And then the fact that they were the fact, the fact that there were so many
Yeah.
statues, to me, I took that as these gods have a little bit of an issue turning people into they're a little statue happy. That's like
Well, I think it's just all the ones that stepped out of line, right? Like, all right, we gave you the warning. Khonshu over here remixing the sky. Maybe the water god over there fucking making it steaming the water or whatnot, making it flow chocolate. Like, dog, you can't be doing this. What you doing? So like,
Ooh.
we don't. Okay.
What if, because
Mm-hmm.
you remember in Rush Hour, right?
Okay. I see.
Let's take it back. Because you remember
Okay.
in Rush Hour
I
when
do.
Chris Tucker's character, he was just like, everyone else is going, I forget which one it was. I want to say it was Rush Hour 2. Everyone's going that way, trying to get off the boat, da 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 da. But they end up at the casino because they were like, what's behind everything, all the evil in the world? A rich white man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're out here going, why with all, I can't see, why with all these brown Egyptian gods do they have Osiris Avatar be a white man? What if
Mm-hmm.
he's evil? What if he's evil? Because to me, it was very strange during Khonshu's trial that he cut him off so quickly. Because remember, he was like, this has ended and we're done. And I'm like, you didn't even give the nigga a chance to really speak and get it out. So what if ultimately he is the bad guy and they're pulling a switcheroo on us?
I'm gonna. I thought that when I saw him walking with Harold, but then he was just showing him like, oh yo, like shit's crazy, but we took care of it. I don't think he's the bad guy. I think the gods are just like that arrogant. And Khonshu did say to call audience to call audience with the gods is it's a hail mary because it might not go your way. And Khonshu is known to be. You saw how he was reacting. It was like yo, like
Yeah.
you just we banished you because of these actions, man. Like you're just out here just making false claims. He's lying, and it's like,
That's
where's the proof
another
then, dog? And so like
There's
they're like, all right, you
another
know,
good TikTok in that. Something about your friend that doesn't know how to act when they're around other people.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
first he was real cool and sexy when it was
He's like,
just
let me,
us.
and then he's like, let me handle this, let me handle this. He's lying. I'm like, dog, this is how you want to handle it. So like, he kind of like, he fumbled the bag on the, he wasn't Tom Cruise in A Few Good Men. Like, you know what I mean? Like, did you order the code red? Like, you know, I want the truth. You can't. Like, that's how Khonshu thought it was gonna play out. It didn't play out that
No,
way.
it did
And so
not.
it's a horror. Yeah, so Osiris is like, what the, we did this shit 2,000 years ago. No, get this nigga out of here. Get this dog out. Get this. Well, my avatar can't say it, but y'all know what I want to say. Get him out of here. Get this guy out of here, man.
I think that that's more likely. I fucks with that heavily, but I'm also not entirely ready to let my theory
I'm
go
with it. I'm with
because
it.
I just think like why you can be showing how the gods keep things very orderly by having so many of the little statues of the different gods that have stepped out of line. Or it could be argued that anything viewed as the slightest bit of pushback is out of line. And
Mm-hmm.
so they get put away because he is a villain. I'm just throwing that
Also,
out there.
keep in mind though, they're all there. Like he didn't just seal him away himself. It took all of them. Like, all right, we're all agreeing on this shit.
Right,
Like
but if
we're
he's pushing it and he's the one in charge, I feel like he has some sway. I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm
Just
with
me
it.
looking for a reason for the white man to be the villain. You know how I do.
I will always support it.
Um, getting supplies. Some things that we already went through. Bloody weapon. The punch
With their
him.
whole
Huh?
the what? The
Oh,
what?
when they were now when did I write that down? They were at a camp. Oh, I we just didn't have that answered yet. As they were
Mhm.
going into the camp and they were getting the supplies and there was like that little scythe.
I saw because I did some research. I was like, let me just run this back because I was confused by that as well. I thought that was Harold's men maybe had been attacked earlier outside by something, but the I forgot I should have wrote down their name, but they're giving it like, oh no, Layla killed someone. Layla killed that dude, so it showed that she was able to like take care of herself. Like that was all Layla.
Layla is the one that used. I thought it was there when they arrived.
So did I, but let's just say it's a theory then. One theory is that like, oh no, Layla used that to kill dude when a dude that was still there to show like, oh no, she don't need no protection. No, she can get down.
And then for my understanding, because Layla's character was not in the comic books.
I don't know. There is a
Okay,
woman, but I don't know. There's a woman that
I
talks
will
to Mark, but
tell you because I read precisely 3 articles.
she might be an amalgamation of characters. But there was a woman that
Yes.
that I guess the love interest, but I don't know if she's a specialist in like Layla is or whatever. Or so
No.
that new to me. Hmm.
So there's this character, Marlene Alron.
Mhm.
and basically that is who that it was Mark's off and on again girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's not Egyptian. She's like this blonde lady, and it's the
Mhm.
same thing. The reveal of Mark and being there for the death of her father and being present in the comic books. He is kind of this. Do you know what how that goes down in the comic books?
The death of how he becomes Moon Knight,
No,
or
maybe how he becomes Moon Knight, but like because in this episode, and we're jumping around again, the big reveal, partially, before the end of the episode, was Mark having been present when
yeah,
Layla's father was killed, which
I.
again took me out because I was like,
Mhm.
when do we start caring about this? I missed it. I just did not. It's not that I'm trying to say that
But-
her father is not important and her death was probably a big deal. To her, his death was probably a big deal, but to me, a viewer of this show, kind
Right.
of came out of
We
nowhere.
still on this shit.
Who is this
That's
man?
been alluded to. That's been alluded to like
Yes,
small throughout the
and
entire thing.
Harrow is the one that was telling her like, oh, you might want to look into this, and she's like, fuck you, bro. Weird ass motherfucker, you're not getting in my head. But he does reveal that Mark was there
There,
for her father's death.
you knew. You
You
fucking knew.
fucking knew. You know what's
I
really
get.
funny? I randomly thought about the Womblands lady today, and I'm just like, I wonder what she's up to right now. Just right now. I just think about these things. But so in the comic books, this character
Mhm.
Marlene, so she's, according to the articles, she is the one whose Layla's character is based off of. She doesn't do
Mhm.
anything though. She has like no depth as a character, but the same thing pretty much happens where there is this, yeah, there's this person that he's working with that's with the
Bushman.
archaeology. Yeah, Bushman,
Bushman.
right? And her dad tries to go and stabify Bushman, and Mark is like, no, look out, Bushman. And Bushman is just like, good looking out, thank you. So then he kills the guy that's Marlene's father, and then Mark feels guilty about it, and he was like, you have to get out of here. She was there, and just, he doesn't deny that,
Mhm.
like, she accuses him like, you killed my daddy, and he was like, yeah, okay, you really have to get out of here right now. So he just kind of accepts responsibility for it just to get her out of the area. So that's what happens in the comic book. So I do like, even though for whatever reason we have Osiris and this very powerful god represented by a white man, they did take a character and give us the old switcheroo, that old good brown washing that totally exists. So
There's what, remember the guy I told you about that Moon Knight he cut his face off?
yes, I feel like you told me that and I immediately blocked it out
All right.
because it was
Well,
gruesome. But
that's
oh,
and
he
going for
he
the comic
carved
books
off his face with the
with the
yes,
crescent knife he uses.
yeah,
That was Bushman because Bushman's the one that killed him. Bushman
girl.
shot him. Yeah, he betrayed him, so he killed him, and Khonshu brought him back to life. And apparently, resurrection is something that Khonshu does for Mark a lot. But I'm like, I never really seen Mark. We've seen him go through like serious injuries, but like he's been resurrected in the comics a lot of times as well. So like that's another part of like Khonshu's I guess ability. He brings Mark back, which we'll get into that in the later at the end of the when we get toward the end of the episode. When we get to the hospital, I'll talk more about that in the hospital scene.
Okay, good, because I am
Yeah,
mighty confused. I sure
yeah,
am.
yeah. So where do you want to take it from? I mean, because they went through like the Tomb Raider and whatnot. Then all right, this design as in like the Eye of Horus or whatever. Cool.
What was that about?
Um, just how the maze. I don't like. How did you realize that the maze was built like this? But he's
You're
like, oh,
in the
I guess
maze, like.
I guess he just recognized the. I don't know what the fuck. He was like,
What
I'm
did
just
he
nice with it.
recognize? The way that the wall curved?
I guess so.
I think that they're making shit up for this show, which I
Man's new.
understand is what, what all
Also, I'm
shows
like, he's like,
are.
oh, it's designed this way, and I'm like, is the eyebrow included? Because the eyebrow seems separate from the rest of the.
Right.
Like, how does
How is
eyebrow?
Can I fly in this scenario?
Yeah,
Because
I
how
was
am
like,
I
is there
supposed
a
to get
bridge?
from the eye to the eyebrow?
Are there stairs at this point? But, okay. So you
I
want like we talked about how did you feel about her wanting to know the answer about the whole daddy thing right then and there? And he's like, yeah, we need to go. Like I just got this thing. You need to get the fuck out of here.
oh, I mean I almost said something so fucked up. Um
Fuck your daddy issues. We gotta go. I mean, I can tell you along the way as we running for our lives. Like,
I
dog.
think I feel like I was just gonna say, as far as Layla goes, I wouldn't be able to relate. Ain't nothing I want to know about my father worth more than my life.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
like okay, but I don't have that connection. So
Yeah.
I have to put it into no.
If it was your
If
mom's,
I was just like if it was my mother.
is that a conversation you can hold till you get outside the pyramid, basically?
I feel like if I was real close to the parent, but I don't know. I'm also not stupid. So it's like we're in such danger being in this
Hmm.
area. It's really not the time. But I feel like some of these decisions and I boil it down to like kind of sloppy writing for shows when things like that happen, kind of like how we discussed last week during that console, the trial, how
Hmm.
Mark was just incapable of getting his words out, of literally saying the sentence, Harrow is looking for Ahmet, he's killing people in her name. Like, get those words out to get these gods' attention. But him
Exactly.
being so overwhelmed by it all, and then Osiris is like, this trial is over, and then I don't think that that follows what we've seen so far of these characters. I think it's sloppy writing. So in this case, I don't think it makes any sense for her to know so badly in that moment what's going on, especially because she's the one that's guiding this shit.
Yeah.
Without
Yeah.
Mark being there, it's like, oh no, Layla and Steven, what the fuck they're about to do. Except we see that Layla holds her own easily. She's the protector in this case. So she's supposed to have the situational awareness. She's supposed to be the one that can guide them out of danger. But now she's the one making really stupid decisions in this moment to have that confrontation with Mark. So I didn't like that as a moment. It's still, to me, it's understandable, but it
Hmm.
doesn't follow what we know of this character. It's understandable from like a human thing. Yeah, I get it, but not for her to do it right then and there. Why? What did you think?
Oh no, but I agree. I agree. I'm just like, I could have waited. I could have waited until I'm gonna talk about this outside. But I mean, it all. But like for plot device, whatever, she gets to hide, and it leads to like your man getting bucked on 2 shots to the fucking abdomen, and then we see him wake up, and he's in a psych ward.
Yes.
How do you feel about this?
Confusion.
Hmm?
So
How about
I
it?
that was okay.
Hmm.
Before we get to that, so here's my thing, and it can be nothing, and I would have to go back and listen to catch all the letters, or maybe watch it with closed captioning because I don't know if it's an Easter egg or not. But they're calling bingo clear enough for us to hear the letter and the number, which sometimes make me think it's something worth paying attention to with Marvel in the MCU because they like to
Hmm.
do that shit. But some of the numbers he calls for bingo is B22, G15, and O14. But those numbers don't exist in classic bingo because B only goes up, 1 through 15. I
Hmm.
is 16 through 30. So you would get
Hmm.
B15 is the highest you can go. So I'm just wondering why in a show where attention to detail, just in the MCU as a whole, where attention to detail is so important, why they opted to have these obviously fake. Like, I don't think the actor was just like, B22. They're not giving actors free reign to just say, you have a
Hmm.
speaking line in a Marvel project. That shit is scripted. You getting union credits off of this plus a paycheck. It's scripted. So it just makes me wonder if the writer was just like, yeah, bingo, B22, why not? Or if there is something hidden within that message. So
You said it was 3 letters that were called out.
there were more, but I didn't know if it was worth me like trying to go back. Hi, Christine. We were watching your thing earlier.
Hey,
Great
oh no,
podcast.
I waved to my phone.
I was just like, why are you waving?
The chat is that way for
That's
me.
very funny.
I mean, I mean, what's interesting, you said those 3 numbers that don't exist. I'm like, well, are we sure that these 3 characters exist? Because Mark's deceased. We know Steven was in his head and there's another personality. And Moon Knight, I mean, which depending on which 3 you want to count, it's real or not. Let's say Mark was real, he's no longer there. There's Moon Knight, there's Steven, and then there's that other personality that's locked in the sarcophagus. who's to say they're real or not. So I mean, that was just from hearing that from you. I'm like, oh, that's a real quick thing. Was that the thing? That was what you were telling me about earlier, right? This is what you want to say?
Yes, that was
Yeah.
just like my random. It's not because I've played so much bingo. It's just from the time
Mm-hmm.
standing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's even worse. I wasn't even playing bingo. I'm standing in the room watching other people play bingo, but.
The casino days.
In my casino days, it was literally, yeah. Christine says, of course we're gonna check out the podcast. I never
Yeah.
paid attention to the bingo numbers. I do wonder if they mean something. Yeah, it was the first thing, because I think it's also one of the first clear lines that we hear as that scene begins. That's when he says B22, and I'm just like, B22 would never be called in bingo. So even if those individual numbers that are being called don't mean anything, I don't know, since those numbers don't exist, I wonder if they're trying to tell us that the asylum doesn't exist. Like, but I don't know, like it both, but and this is when again I need you to fill in, because what's
Yeah.
real and not real here?
Mhm.
Is it that's my next note. Is the asylum basically a physical manifestation of his mind? Is it just in his mind? Was it like you mentioned that Khonshu is what are you okay? No, yeah, go for it. Go.
Yes, no, you're right. Cause remember, like remember you see him talking to Harrow in there, and Harrow's telling him like, "Yo, like, Harrow's not this evil dude or whatever. He's just like a psychiatrist." One night, you see him stumbling around, and then he's running. He's running like, "Oh no!" And we saw like the inmates, the people, the security people were the two cops that came after him, and one of them was dead too. Layla's there, and she's like, "Oh, I'll share the reward with you this time." She says to
Right.
him, the Moon Knight toy as well. And so there's a so here's where the comments come in, right? I made a mistake last episode when I was saying Mark Waid and Declan Shelby wrote Moon Knight. It was Warren Ellis. Warren Ellis and Declan Shelby did like the cold cases of Moon Knight, where each issue was like a cold case.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it was Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood in a series where Moon Knight's in this mental institution and he's not sure of what's real and what's anymore or anything like that. And then my man's like, "Fuck this, I'm me." He takes off like the bed sheets and makes like a Moon Knight mask, and then he starts feeling, "All right, I'm Moon Knight again," because Moon Knight is another. Like it's not always like Mark. It's another personality in a sense.
Right.
It's Mark, Steven, Moon Knight. Not
Right.
Mark in a Moon Knight thing, but like Moon Knight as itself,
Right.
as their own identity. And so he's going around fucking people up and shit because he's just making go around fucking people up, and then you come to find out like, oh, this is all in his mind, and all his personalities are there. And so like I think he was maybe dead at this point, and before being resurrected by Khonshu, it was like you kind of got to get right with yourself, and that's why they can all see each other and everything now. Like, oh, okay, we can all talk to each other because technically he has 5 personalities.
Okay.
There's
Oh, wait,
Mark.
wait, wait. I know them. I know them. I know them. I know them. I know them.
Okay.
Okay. So there's Mark. There's Steven. There's Moon Knight. There's Mr. Knight. And then there's, what's his name? Jake?
There's Jake Lockley, yeah, and Jake Lockley is the one that is good job. Jake Lockley is the one that's trapped in a sarcophagus, and I thought he was more of the relaxed one, but nah, he is. Jake's the psychotic one. Like you let me out when like you're facing a monster. Like that's when Jake comes out. Like, um,
Black
so that's what.
Payday! Thank you so much for the follow! Yay!
So that's what we're facing now. So like we saw, because now you saw Steven and when he's running through there, and you got Steven out of the sarcophagus, and like, oh shit, Steven, Mark, and they can touch each other and interact with each other.
Right. Oh, and
because
that hug was very
yeah,
sweet. That hug gave me, and I hope this is not a spoiler for anybody because it's been years, the finale of Steven Universe after. Did you see that?
yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't. I forget how much of stuff people have seen.
Steven Universe Future. We started healing. That's when I stopped being interested. I was like, nah, I want the trauma.
You want the trauma?
I, was
Listen,
like,
I don't
I
know.
want wartime Steven.
When volleyball was talking about abuse from relationships, and that's when I stopped reviewing them on my YouTube channel as well. I'm like, well, that's enough commentary about
Volleyball?
Steven Universe, huh?
Volleyball?
White pearls, white pearls.
Oh,
Yeah,
volleyball. Gotcha.
they call her volleyball on the show.
Gotcha.
Nope. Yeah, that was too deep. But for the regular show, when they confront White Diamond, and I see your question, Christine, is the hippo Amit? No, but I
No.
did read an article about who she is and what her role might be. But when the White Diamond pulls out Steven's gem from his belly
Yeah.
button, and he separates into Pink Steven and Steven. And right before they reunite, they hug. It reminded me a lot of that when Steven and Mark hugged, because they've been nothing but at odds, but in this extremely foreign place where all they have is each other. To me, it was such a great turning point in the show. Like, I really don't know what's gonna happen next, but Steven and Mark being like on the same side, to me, is dangerous for whoever benefited from him not knowing what the fuck was going on. So I did like that moment a lot. I did.
Again, the hippo is because the hippo was mentioned in episode 1 when it's like, oh, remember his boss was talking about like, oh, move those plushies. He goes, oh, this is actually, was it Tanawit? What is their name? I know it begins with a T, I believe.
Let me see, because this article is more mixed up. There were 2 articles that I'm like, oh, these are good for information. I didn't retype the thing. I was like, I'll just be able to scroll and find it. You know what I can't do? Scroll and find
Toweret.
it. Right, so I should have.
Taweret. Toweret.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Where did the... oh, it was Den of Geek. So, no, but apparently she is also the goddess, like in Egyptian lore or history, or however you view it. She is also a protector, and she tends to protect pregnant people, especially like, you know, and mothers and things like that. But she also has the power of, according to this article, I'm trying to see just to make sure I have it right, but she has the power of not regeneration. When you bring someone back to life, you said it earlier. Resurrection. She has that power as well, which reading that for me was very interesting, because if she is suddenly there, we have no Khonshu, and as they've said several times in the episode, we lost the power to the suit.
Yeah.
We can't heal, we can't do anything, but suddenly here's this other goddess that wishes to help them, that has similar powers to Khonshu. Yeah. That actually makes me pretty excited if she's our way out. Like, no Khonshu, no super worldly help, except actually, yes, we do. We have Hippo Lady.
Hippo Lady.
Respectfully. Oh, that's a whole god. Oh, no. What was her name? I will not call her Hippo Lady.
I might be butchering the name, but it's Taweret. Taweret.
Okay.
Taweret. What was I gonna say? Oh, I thought she was. I feel like maybe her avatar was the one that led Mark and told Mark to go find the sarcophagus. That told Mark the location of the map to the sarcophagus. Remember the woman that was like, "Oh yeah, I believe you."
But I feel like that wasn't. Did we know what god she's the avatar?
I don't think so, but I don't think so. But I feel like that if she believes Khonshu, then I'm assuming that it must be their god must be on their side as well. Like, oh yeah, he's telling the truth.
That.
Because I was wondering, I was like, does that woman have the same voice? I was like, no, that's not the gods do have different voices. But I thought that might have been her god.
She's not in the comics. You said the Lemire and the Smallwood comics, so she's not there at all.
I mean, because they're like, these things are just like kind of like a reference to like, oh, they're doing this hospital scene, it's all white. Right. That's just a reference to Lemire and Smallwood.
The Den of Geek article says she takes the form of a hippo for that creature's protective qualities as she seeks to defend pregnant women and newborns from anything that threatens them. Perhaps here, this is what got me. Perhaps here, themes of birth and rebirth will be more oblique than that, especially surrounding Mark and his fractured psyche, but hopefully answers will be coming in the Moon Knight's final 2 episodes. That made a lot of sense to me, because after he was shot, falling into the water, and then having this whole moment of rebirth, and like, come on, high school symbolism with Miss Arthur, I remember, like, about symbolism, and so her being the goddess of rebirth. Christine says,
all right, I was gonna say, what was your teacher's name that remind you of that?
My teacher? Oh no, I in high school we had to take symbolism, and I had that with Miss Arthur.
I want to shout out Mr. Khalees from psychology. He also told us that you always pay attention to a character's last name, because they always represent something about their character. Mark Spector. A Spector's a ghost.
A ghost. Yep.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of more symbology, it makes me wonder if Layla is going to die at some point in this series. because there was a very, very brief moment where she does Jesus pose. And what Miss Arthur told me in high school is that when someone strikes a Jesus pose, like, and it's supposed to be like when he was crucified, so it's like the
Yeah.
arms up and the legs kind of at the side. When she is traversing across the rocks and things like that, and it's like all super dangerous, and she's like laid out because she
Oh yeah.
finally made it.
Yes.
She does it very, very briefly, but it's very distinct, and normally they would do that to show a character is going to be sacrificed later in the same way Jesus sacrificed himself. Same thing, like if you see a character like wear hella red, typically they're the ones that are going to die. Things like that. So it makes me wonder if something is the red shirt. Exactly. It makes me wonder if something's going to happen to her. We also see Mark do the same thing after he's shot. He hits the water and he holds that pose for a very long time. So it's interesting how they play with symbolism a lot. Christine wants to know, is she more ethereal and carry herself as more of a goddess? Because I didn't rock with Khonshu. I don't.
Oh, we got. Christine, you didn't know how Tinder's getting down with Conchi. I'll tell you what.
You mean I was trying to find a way to put Khonshu and Daddy together, and it just came out catty, and it wasn't sexy anymore. But I enjoy Khonshu a lot.
Practice one pipe.
I like his big old godly thighs, and as we established last week, he don't have to have a neck to give good head. Neck. He ain't got no neck. There was something.
They gotta have the neck to get that neck. You know what I mean? Full rotation. That's that owl work right there.
He has a bird beak, so I don't know how that would work out, but I'd be willing to explore to find out. But so that's how I feel.
Black Nerd Problems, y'all. Well, Black Nerd Problems. No, I'm saying we talk. That's what we're about here. Damn it.
So for me, I think Khonshu is great. Like, give me, and like I said, give me a big old strong somebody that's standing at the top of buildings looking down at what I do during the day. I don't mind Khonshu, which is why it's very funny when he finally, that moment he walked away, when he was like, oh, what was the line? In episode...
Are you going to be there when it's to the council?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, where you go? Are you gonna be there? Like, oh, I'll be there. I'll fucking be there. My man was like, I fucking hate these dudes. I'll be there, man. I will fucking be there. He turns around, he's like, I'm over here. Mark, what up? Oh, Steven, man. Fuck, Mark, you seeing this shit? You see what the boss doing? Every time Steven does something. Hey, yo, Mark, you shit.
He's just up there. He's always watching. He's just... I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what kind of toxic, like, no, yeah, just sit back and watch me. Sit back and watch me. Like, I don't know what it is. Is it because I'm in the public eye, so I enjoy being watched? And so,
might be. Hold on, let me put on my therapist glasses.
Put on the therapist glasses.
They're the same glasses.
I thought you were just very fast with your hands, but I was like, wow, he did that so quick.
My question is, I mean, since we've wound down now from the recap, I'm like, all right, you rocking with Khonshu. We just forget about Bass that easily. You know what I mean? Like, there's Bass and Khonshu. They duking it out. Who you going for?
Ooh, like, ooh.
They scrapping. You're like, you know, like, oh, Tiffie, help me. Who you helping, Bast or Khonshu?
Anything that I know of Bast, she's been associated. My first introduction to Bast was either with Halle Berry's character, Patient Phillips, in that Catwoman movie, which, as we've brought up,
MCU Bass. We're not gonna do DC Bass. MCU Bass.
Listen to me, please, before you. I'm not saying that the Catwoman is a good movie. I'm saying my first association with Bass is through a black woman. For the MCU, for Marvel specifically, it's still through a black woman because it was through Worlds Apart. And so seeing Bast, it was very funny because to me, like, and I love how they and again, I don't know how based off of real mythology it is, but
Mhm.
how they make gods so fickle in comic books. Like Bass was there, just kind of witnessing everything happening between T'Challa and Storm and all that, and she's just like, mm-hmm. And then it's like, oh no, wait a minute, no, she sees everything happening just in general with the Shadow King, but then as soon as T'Challa is the one that's affected, she's like, now wait one fucking minute, not my child. She pulled a Molly Weasley, not my daughter, you bitch, basically, and chomped this nigga out. She literally ate him as a cat. So like on principle, I would have to be on Team Bast, but after the fight, like after Bass kicked Khonshu's ass, I would definitely show up at his apartment, just like, hey, I heard that your day was pretty rough.
That was business, you know what I mean? Now I had to do what I had to do. Wakanda's more, you know what I mean? Dark skin representation in Wakanda,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Infinity to infinity.
I don't know if you've was speaking on Bass in Black Panther and T'Challa, Black Panther and Storm when they got married and their special. That
That's right.
Storm had to go like before it was a ritual in the spirit in the astral plane or whatever, and to meet Bass and whatnot. And it's just they fight through all these things. They get in front of Bass and there's this Bass's giant big white panther. He's like, oh, this is who you chose as a bride. Gets all in front of Storm, just looks at her and just licks her face. All right, y'all good to go. That was it. That's probably my fucking scenes. Eyes like big ass eyes, right? Storm just like, oh shit, okay. It's like you ain't got your powers here. Like we're totally helpless here. It's gonna be what's gonna be. And Bass is like, yeah, chick, what up now? Licks her face. All right, you cool, get out. I'm like,
it's
hilarious.
The Last Dragons blessing Zuko and Aang, like big scary dragon dance. But you're worthy, like.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody we hear though. Don't tell nobody we hear though.
Right. If anyone asks, we're dead. You didn't see us.
Exactly. So how are you feeling about Moon Knight after this recent episode? Like we're 4 episodes in. It's supposed to be I think 6. There's up in the air if it's gonna be another season or not. But more than likely it's gonna tie into MCU somehow, some way. How are you? They got 2 episodes left. Did they hook you in? Are you still like I am confused?
I'm hooked in. I'm hooked in. It's not giving MCU show at all. So I would love for them to find a way to link it to the rest of the MCU because that's what I really enjoy. But I'm in on the show. And they've set up enough little mysteries or whatever for that, again, even outside of the MCU, when it just comes to watching this show and being engaged in this storytelling, you have me. Christine says, I would only go to Khonshu's apartment if Zaddy Mark was there. So here's a good question. First of all, I fucks with you, Christine, because you called him Zaddy, and I be calling everybody Zaddy, Daddy, all of them, Zahir, all of them.
Zaddy, Zahir, Cat Daddy, it don't matter.
All of them. So here's, because I had this thought, and I was like, I'm not going to say that out loud. And then Christine Christine left this comment. So, because speaking, if Mark is there, that's how you would go to Khonshu's apartment. If I'm the Avatar, if I'm Khonshu's Avatar.
Tiffie.
Go on this journey with me.
Go ahead.
This is going, but they don't know where they don't know me.
Let me buckle my seatbelt first. Hold on.
It's not that wild.
Oh, all right. Seatbelt off. All right.
If I'm the Avatar, when I masturbate, is that like me fucking Khonshu?
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for joining us for Black Nerd Problems. Tiffie Starchild, you can find her all. No, it's not. You're still you. But I think they're watching you.
But we share a body. But if he
possesses
my body,
no. We're not really. They speak to like Avatar is not really sharing. Well, I'm not. In my understanding, right? They're like we saw when Khonshu took over. Mark, this is so funny. This is so. I answer this question. You saw when they were in their body take over, but being the Avatar is you get to see them and you get the abilities and whatnot. You're not sharing a body though. Because like the gods, I thought this broke down that same dude. Like the gods, like they're on a different plane. So being an Avatar means you can see them. you see like, all right, I can see my God because they're not in this plane or whatnot. That's like the avatar. That's their you're like the
So it
conduit.
is.
You're not sharing the body though.
Okay, so it is very
The main thing
much.
is that they can see you. That's the main. You should talk about like a main
Okay,
concerning thing about
okay,
because they can see you.
okay.
They like I should have just left it. I should have just left it. We're here. We're here.
No,
We're
we're
here.
here. So it's fine.
We're
So it's
here.
fine. So he wouldn't feel it. I got you. I see what you're saying, Christine. So if I masturbate, it's not like me fucking Khonshu, but if I masturbate and Khonshu is there watching, it's like we're giving each other a show. What is the issue? I think you're muted.
I'm not muted. I'm there. I'm there.
Oh,
Yes.
you were just stunned into silence.
The voyeurism is hitting it. Like they will see it, which also makes me think about. All right, we're here now because I had the same thought with you got the right idea, wrong characters. Venom and Eddie Brock.
So if Eddie
Because they share a body.
Because they share a body. I wonder if Rule 34 has ever.
We get into the deep conversations here at Black Nerd Problems. You know what I mean? This is the talk show part after the recap. If I'm an avatar, where are the boundaries and privacies of being an avatar or being a host to a symbiote? You know what I'm saying? We those questions that you ask, but keep to yourself. We ask aloud. You know what I'm saying?
So
if I have that,
is it better for me to look up just Venom? I'll look up Venom and Eddie. It's fine.
I mean, Venom, they'll have them. There have been other people that have been Venom, but like, yeah, they know. So. What are you looking for? Is my question.
Well, I'm just I have Rule 34 pulled up.
What is Rule 34?
You don't know?
I don't. Is it something I should Google?
No, don't Google it. I'll just tell you. Rule 34 is the belief that Rule 34 is the belief that if it exists, there is porn of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned it before. Yeah. So you trying to look up Venom?
This is for research purposes.
You doing this on what?
You know what?
Ma'am, first and foremost.
In this one, it's more Eddie and Venom are separate. I'm not going to put it up on the stream. I'm not going to share it, Omar.
I know that. I'm just saying.
Text it to you. Or maybe this one I'll text you. And
no, like that's Rule 34 was proven by Tumblr before the snap. And by the snap I mean when they got rid of all the porn on Tumblr. Yeah, because like me and Will, we were trying to find when you're trying to find gifts for a recap. You're gonna come across a porn of your shit, man. You know what I'm saying? You were looking for Legend of Korra. Like, all right, we're just looking through. Like, okay, saw that. Oh, saw that. Okay, yeah. Like,
you see some things. Listen, I've been on the internet for a long time. Okay, so at this
AOL
1.0, the first AOL, the very first, before AOL Prodigy. Let's go.
I'm an Earthling nigga myself. You know what I'm saying? That's how we got in the game. Yeah.
He's gonna put your whole age out there like that on the internet. You're
37.
Very old.
But I look 17 and acted.
That's what counts. So this one is interesting.
Ma'am. Ma'am. Because here's the thing. We done explored it. And here's the point where I ain't gonna get a technical Will anymore. Omar. You done out here.
I did not join Black Nerd Problems thinking I would be
silenced.
I did not wish to be silenced on this platform. I have turned down working with other melanated nerd platforms in favor of Black Nerd Problems. I did not know that I would have no voice here, Omar. I did not know, Omar.
It's your show. We all just an audience to it. Go ahead, do what you. Go ahead.
You've told me this before, yet I cannot speak of Venom and Eddie Brock pornography.
My fault. Follow your heart. Yeah.
That's all I have left.
Follow your heart, yeah. I'm gonna jump on this. Follow your heart.
I will say, I'm very sad that Tasha was not able to join us, but I believe that there were conditions laid down for her absence that you were supposed to fulfill.
I did the accent,
You didn't
boy.
do the accent enough.
Hey, mate.
That's not the fucking accent. We want whole conversation with the accent,
Whoa,
sir.
whoa. Don't get your wallabies in a biscuit now. Crikey, we're just. I think that's a. No need to be knocking knees on the table, yeah, like Malcolm Turnbull. I'd say the crumpets are all done up for the for
Have you
the for
ever
the
talked to
for the
Tasha?
blackjack.
Omar,
You know what, Tasha?
have you ever spoken to
I'm
Tasha?
Tasha has been my wife for
That's what I'm saying. What is that
like
about yourself?
4 years now. This is what she sounds like to me. This is what I hear. You don't hear it every day. You don't hear it every day, man. I hear it every day. Boomerang. I hear it every day. Sometimes he just throws one at me.
Um,
That's a butte over there of a crocodile, eh?
I keep trying to get back. I just don't.
Oh, look at the Rango over there, yeah.
I've never.
One hop for kangaroo.
I've
Oh,
literally never
beautiful
even heard
wallaby.
her say the word boomerang before. Like, you're making all of this up.
All right. I can't do her accent, so I just butcher it. She knows this of me.
It's okay. The thing is, you were the one that offered, is what.
Oh yeah, and I just did it. You're welcome. Content.
You make the clips, sir. You know what to do.
You know what I'm saying?
You make the clips. That did remind me though, because Lady Sia always shows up ready to use some good old some emotes, and I was gonna put the emote wall because we're not Will, we have some couth.
Y'all give my man a hard time.
Because we want an emote wall. Why?
We want to see our emotes. Give a damn about this.
We want emotes, damn it.
Speaking of the, we are 4 out of 8 emotes for Black Mirror Problems are done. So we have emotes coming soon.
That is extremely exciting.
We are halfway there.
Halfway there to emote land. Oh, and I don't know if anyone noticed, but you do have a couple more things that you can redeem for channel points.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, if no one's gonna do it, then I'm gonna do it myself.
No, you do it. No, I'm gonna do it.
Got.
Damn
Yes.
it! Why
Yes.
can't I do it? Why can't I find it? Oh,
Yes. We got a first button. Y'all been demanding it. Shit, I mean, if I'm going first, I might as well go second as well.
No!
Where's the second?
No!
Where's the second? Oh, yeah. Boom. Got the 2. Where's the 3? Where's the 3?
There's
oh, you
not
hit
a
it.
3 because
There's
I
not
am
a 3.
mega 3, Omar.
Yeah, first and second.
Stop
First
flexing.
and...
No one cares about your muscles.
That's what my nephew told me. He was like, I was in the mirror. He was like, nobody cares. No one's impressed. No one's impressed.
No one's
He was
impressed.
7. No one's impressed. I was like, all right, man.
That's very funny. Man, I could have done it from right here. I could have, because I'm so sad because on Tasha's, this is a travesty. I miss it so often on Tasha's channel. I literally made it for this channel and I still managed to miss it. Lady Sia redeemed by you a drink. I don't have a drink. I'll get some wine before we play Tsushima, but it'll be water for now.
Well, I went through my. I'm like at the bottom of the.
Do you not have more water?
When you do the switch screen, I'll go get some more water.
Y'all don't be y'all marathon. Ooh, the emote wall is working.
I had waters here. They're just gone.
I'm not judging your water intake. I'm saying y'all never take breaks. Like every hour. I'm like, oh no, I gotta get up and walk around the house.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, we gotta stretch more, man. Play through the pain, bro.
I will not play through the pain. I will absolutely not. I have noticed a difference in my body syndrome. I think my booty flat because I've been sitting down in this chair. And I cannot let that happen. I will not go back to having a flat ass. You don't know where I'm
Never going back.
You don't know where I'm coming from. Nah, I can't do that. So I will be taking my breaks. I will be walking around and stretching and exercising good. Streamer hell, you ain't about to have Yeti get ready yelling at me. God damn it. When for not taking breaks and taking care of my eyes. We taking breaks around here.
Tasha has the record. She went like
That was
it was
crazy.
over. It was over 10. It was either like not 13 hours, but like maybe it was like between. It was between 10 to 13 hours playing. Because there was one board she could not get past, and she was. It was,
Determined.
I'm like, this is beautiful. It was a beautiful. I tweeted it. I was like, yo, this is unprecedented. We've never seen anything. Because Jordan had a record of like I think maybe 7 or 8 hours, maybe seven, 6 or 7 hours, maybe 7 or 8. But she went double digits. And we're like, oh man,
She's in it. I would love to do a stream that long. I can't imagine what I would do for that long.
you need a day off entirely. You have to be I mean, you could do Animal Crossing that long. You can.
It would just have to be an endless stream. I would pull in guests. Like, maybe I will do that one day, just like have like an
Yeah.
hours long stream. But we would play Animal Crossing. We would play Hades. We would play some Tsushima. We would turn that off. I would take a nap. I'd be right back there. And y'all could just watch me sleep. But that's.
Different platform, dog, but
They do
okay.
that. I don't know what the interest. I think I would know. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I snore. I wouldn't be able to sleep on stream. Lady Sia said it's too hot in San Diego today to not have a break and get a drink. That's true. That's very true. Did I have anything else from the? So oh yeah, just to wrap up
Mhm.
the episode and what we saw in his eye in his mind's eye in the
Mhm.
asylum, whether or not it's real. I guess that's what gets me trying to figure out what at this point is real and what's not real. So was he like was which of these worlds was real? And you did say something earlier about Khonshu resurrecting Mark several times in the comics. Is this? But I don't think this would be like these two worlds. Omar, what's going on?
I think it's like again, it's just a callback to like this is definitely a callback to the series that Jeff Lemire wrote with Greg Smallwood,
Okay.
and it's all just taken because like, we didn't know what the hell was going on. Like these I think like certain bad gods had taken over the world and everything. Like it was a whole nightmare situation. But come to find out, and Mark's looking at Taco, and they're like, oh, come to find out, this was all in his head. He had to like get right with all of his personalities
Mm.
before being brought back. So that's the same thing we're doing here. But in this case, we're not seeing they just said the personality for Moon Knight, Jake Lockley, Stephen Grant, Mark Spector, Mr. Knight. There's really Mr. Knight and Stephen are kind of like the same person in this one. So I think it's just that where we're probably gonna get introduced to that third personality that's just Jake Lockley. But like it's
It's
gonna be they're gonna be get this is the get right moment before we get back to the before they're brought back again to the real world and whatnot, and then they'll have
okay.
their
So we're
fight. So it's like the
we're leaning towards the asylum being in Mark's mind, very symbolic. Hippo is there because she can also protect, can resurrect. Maybe that's how we're gonna get Mark coming back after being shot. And strong theory that the third personality, Jake, is in that sarcophagus that they definitely looked at and they were just like, no.
the fuck.
I thought it was Khonshu because I didn't know anything really about the other personality until I read the articles. But
Remember when they were when they were fucking those dudes up when he first arrived in Egypt, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! You brutalized those dudes!" Like that wasn't me. I was
yes.
like, "That was not me."
Right. And then someone was even saying that it might be uh okay, so it might be when he's saying, yes, I was there when your dad was killed, the guilt he's feeling isn't because it was a whole nother person. They're saying that it might have been Jake that did it. So at the end of the day, still the same body. You know, if you kill my parent, you kill my mother, I don't care which of your fucking personalities it is. I'll whoop all their asses. The fuck?
They all gotta go.
So,
They all gotta
right.
go.
They all gotta go. Even
I
the
mean,
one
that's the
I'm in
Bucky
love with.
situation.
Huh?
Is that not the Bucky situation for Tony Stark? Remember?
Exactly. I don't care. I don't care that you were brainwashed. What the fuck that got to do with me?
Does
I
that
don't.
mean does that mean your Bucky thirst gone now?
And
He ain't kill my parents. He ain't kill my parents. That
God
was
damn
Tony's business.
it.
That
No.
was Tony's business.
I never had an issue with Bucky. I never had an issue with Bucky. It's fun. I don't think this has ever come up. I don't have an issue with Bucky because Bucky also isn't really trying to escape it. Like, he's still alive and living, and he has forgiveness from certain things, and he's just like, okay, so since I'm living life now, and I guess I'm here, I might as well make something of it. As opposed to Wanda as a villain who's just like, I'm a fuck, I done fucked up a whole bunch of shit, and I think I will have tea now. That's Wanda. Like, she's very, and then the people behind Wanda they're all, the Wanda fan base doesn't want to see that villainy in her. Or they're just like, well, she was so sad and da 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 da. Bucky owns his mistakes. And it's the same thing when people try to bring up Tony. Well, Tony did this. Tony spent the rest of his life literally trying to correct those. So I have no issue with Bucky. I think that Cap was in the wrong because he's the one that knew. And yeah, Bucky's your friend, but you are also calling Tony a friend as well at this point. And you chose to withhold that information. Bucky didn't know anything to Tony. He didn't have to tell him shit, but Steve did. And so that was my issue within that situation, not Bucky himself. And especially if he gonna do that arm thing, when he put his arm in and he swung his arm back around, nigga, choke me with that arm. Like, so no, I'm always
Should have came at Tony man to man. I'm just coming at you to tell you that my man's, what was I gonna say? I mean, yeah, man, Wanda literally came in the game a villain, and then she got rid of the mutants. Brought them down to the 198 mutants, made them an endangered species for about 12. I mean, let's say a million came back, but it was about maybe 12 years, maybe even 16. It was either 16 or no, it wasn't 20 years. Like 12 years. Like the mutants were not at full strength until 2019. And she also disassembled the Avengers, and she got Hawkeye killed. Like, dog. This is a lot. There's a lot. Which, I mean, she was going through the breakdown, but there's a breakdown happening for that Avengers disassembled, but nah, she made the whole House of M thing. She made that all happen, and then she said, "No more mutants," and all right,
and that was it. That's the wrap.
She redeemed herself. She redeemed herself in the end, but I mean, God damn, man,
Christine with the I just hate his name. I love him, but let's rename you, baby. Yeah, Bucky is not. I can't say that during sex. I can't be like,
it's James Buchanan.
We know it's James Buchanan, but the grown man allows himself to be called Bucky, and I'm saying I cannot say Bucky midst orgasm. That
man, Buck, yo.
It would distract me. It would ruin the whole thing, and I'd have to kick him out my bed. With your stupid name, you ruined this.
Put your arm on and go.
Do you think so? What if? No, that's a terrible question. What if he? So if he was going to finger somebody.
All right, you gotta do the Tsushima. Tsushima happening.
What if his arm ran out of battery?
There's no battery in his arm. Why am I answering? I don't think his arm runs out of battery. I think it's.
What if it had to reboot? What if he had his fingers inside, but then he accidentally clenched?
Put your fingers down. Put your fingers down, ma'am. Have some the couth. Tiffie, find that couth.
You ain't never had a hand spasm before, Omar.
I hope you're proud of yourself. I hope you're proud. Sorry. I was like.
Oh, my stomach hurts. Someone told me not to wear eyelashes. I'm so happy that I listened because I'm crying. My stomach hurts so bad. Oh God.
All right, yeah, we gotta get into Tsushima.
I'm not. Quit trying to force me away from this subject. Right. He is trying so hard not to laugh. That is very fucking funny. Fuck you, Omar.
That is very fucking funny. Fuck you, bro.
His mama calls him James. I'ma call him James. Big valid energy. Big Bucky.
No, you just said you gonna call
I
I
said I
mean,
would
Steve,
not be able to call him Bucky. This whole time we were saying we would not call him Bucky because it is a very unsexy name.
I'm gonna call him Buck.
Buck? My name is
Yeah,
Buck.
Buck.
I had someone say
My
that
name
to
is
me.
Buck, and I like you. Know, you seen
That's why I said it. Kill Bill.
Yes.
I'll help you. uh I had someone say that to me. They said that they couldn't. They found my name unsexy, Tiffie. They're just like, I can't say it. So that's what's funny, Omar. That's what's funny. That's what counts as humor to you. Good thing I'm over it. My feelings were hurt.
He said that shit sounds like
that's what he laughs. Okay.
It's like a character out of Dark Crystal. I can't get down with this.
Yep. Tiffy is an unsexy name. Just live my unsexy life.
You gotta believe in your name, yo. Nah, there's worse names that are not. There's a lot. Becky, you're not gonna like.
I
Ain't no
dated
way.
a person named Bob. I'll
That's,
let you know right
listen,
now. I never said his name
listen,
mid-sex.
listen.
I didn't. As far as the episode ending. Ladies,
as far as Oscar Isaac rolling up the sleeves, yeah, let's get back into that.
No sleeves. The only thing I wanted to say about the end of the episode is sometimes I don't know if it's anxiety or if I'm weird or if other people do this, but I gotta check the timestamp at the bottom. I'm like, I need to know when the episode is about to end, not because I'm ready for it to end, more just like there's too much up in the air. How are we gonna wrap this up before the episode is over? And I just remember thinking right before this episode ended, I was thinking this is a terrible place for this episode to end. And then that's right where it ended. Not at seeing the hippo, that was a nice little button, but just them being in this asylum and having no questions answered. For me personally, I do not like that whatsoever. I hate it, and I haven't had enough time to figure out why I dislike it so strongly. But it's as far as things that this television show has done, the ending of this week's episode, to me was the worst.
Bad?
It was is that bad. But if I have to unpack that feeling, maybe it's because they did a good job of really, really making me want to know what's next. I'm happy that I watched the episode. So like I watched it not too long before the stream. Not right before, because I had time to read articles and take notes and do things like that. But I'm happy that I only have to wait until, if I just go to sleep tonight, wake up, get through tomorrow, stay up until midnight, then I can watch the next episode. So it's not even that far away. But if I had to wait a whole week to get some fucking answers, I'd be very, very upset.
I mean, this is the part I won't say it was bad. It was out there, but that is the realm of in the realm of Moon Knight. But also like I think my Mr. Ryan, my English teacher, once said this, like there's a thing when you're writing a story or whatever, it has a certain beat, right? So if with Moon Knight you hear you want to hear that beat to complete the rhythm of it, like the dun 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 dun. You in your mind you complete it for yourself, but like that's also what keeps you like pulled in, and it leaves you like unsettling because I need to know I have to hear that part. I have to hear that part for it all to be like even out, which is what gets you to the next episode. So I feel like this is I mean it was out there, but like it's definitely like, well, I gotta as soon as it's 11:59, 12 o'clock. All right, boom, I'm here to see like what the outcome of it was.
Mike Tony Design. Hello, welcome to the stream. I feel like it's been a very This has been I think this has been a great conversation. I look
This is
forward to
hilarious.
seeing how you clip this and put this on YouTube.
I'm just gonna. I could have ended a little earlier and like I was over here. I'm just gonna here. There's all the moon night. There's all there. There it is.
Right.
There it is.
I love it.
It happened.
And so for those that don't know, Omar put for the Black Nerd Problems YouTube, he put our conversation from last week. And so I don't know if he was planning on doing it for this week, but we're going to bully him into it. Yeah. So yeah, if you have missed the beginning of this conversation, and it's been a very fun one, not only did we recap the episode and kind of jump all over the place, I learned a lot about Moon Knight and some of the things. I can't be the only one that had no clue what was going on in some places, and Omar did a great job of breaking some things down. We came up. I am trying to be so fucking professional right now.
You are.
Why are you laughing at me?
Because I can't be the only one thinking if I'm the avatar. I was like, oh, should it go that route?
No, I was being professional.
I know. It's funny.
Now that we're back on that subject, I still.
The funniest part of the whole thing is that you're like, it's this, and I'm like Tiffie, but I'm also like, no, they're not the same body because. That was the funniest thing.
So you be entertaining my nonsense.
Yeah, I call it. It's the youngest and the youngest. That's why. It's like I had like the youngest will always like wacky idea. Well, I hear a wacky idea. I'm going with that wacky idea.
I think it's very.
But no, you did a great job.
Because you tried, because you're a month older than me. I think you tried to keep it mature, but nope, you're down here in the gutter with me.
I'm in the muck. I'm always in the muck. I'm always in the muck. I'll be in the muck, man. The muck's right here. I'm just like.
Just kind of peeking up over.
Go back
underneath. So I think this was a great. This to me is so much fun and just brings so much more to exploring these shows. I really do hope. I like if we get nothing else from the bingo numbers, just establishing what's real and what isn't by the B-22, G-15, O-14, things like that. Jake Lockley potentially coming in and just seeing what his story is, and if he is the one that actually killed Layla's father, which would complicate those matters even further, obviously, for Mark and Layla. So thank you so much for the conversation. Wow, that was...
How was that 2 hours?
We had about a 10-minute pre-show thing, so about an hour and a half.
Oh, that's only an hour and a half? Oh, man.
That's only an hour and a half. But that was good. That was good.
Great. I mean, that's why it's like we put like the screen on. We're just like, oh, that was good. That was good. It's still see us. Yeah, it's always a joy. You are the best at what you do, and what you do is talk, and you can talk that talk. So it's always a joy to be on your show.
Thank you.
And even I know you worry about. Oh, I'm so worried if it's just me talking and people enjoy me talking. Like, motherfucker, we here for this.
I told you that moment in private. Is this because I told everyone about your fisting rings?
No, this is me. I was just showing you.
I shared my insecurity with you. You even gave me a mocking voice. Oh, I'm so scared. I don't talk like that, Omar. That's not what my voice sounds like.
You know what's funny?
What?
I was talking to my friend. This was years ago. My friend Phil, whom my wife doesn't think exists. I was telling him one time, and he's like, whenever I describe people's voice when I was younger, I'd be like, my mom gave me. It's like, why? Phil was like, why do you do that? I was like, what? Give the people the voice. Like, that's so. It's like so irritating and annoying. He's like, dude, that's what I hear. That's all I hear. Like 2 days later, he was like, dude, man, my dad and mom were giving it to me. You were right, man. That's all I heard was. He's like, I told you. I'm like, I don't discriminate. It's everybody, man. The coaches, everybody, dude.
I feel that because I do that to people too, but it's insulting to be on the receiving end. Again, I understand it. I be doing it to people, but when someone does that to me, I'm just like, is that what the fuck I sound like to you? Want. Like, okay. Let's not gloss over the fact that she doesn't think Phil exists. I caught that, and it is very funny. And
Jesus.
I wish Tasha was here to give us. If she joins us for Tsushima, we need her side because I'm sure that she has a very valid reason for.
She never met him. She never met him, but like he grew up with me and my friend Elvis from Hackensack. He's my best friend. And also, I'm like, when you're like, am I the one to keep? Because every time I text, I literally text him, "Are you dead?" Like, nope, still alive. Okay, and then every like, been like a year or some change now, but like maybe like every 8 months we did that.
So it looks like you overdue.
That's
You better send him a "Are you
I will.
alive?"
I will. I
Because
mean, also, sometimes you can have friends that like we don't have to talk all the time or anything like that. Like,
absolutely, that's me and the majority of my friends. But I also think it's because I'm bad at answering text messages. So maybe in my head we just have that friend. Meanwhile, they're mad at me.
Mhm.
Someone said, "Was the hippo goddess the one who was the flirty levitt?" Was the hippo goddess the one who the flirty lady from episode 3, was she the avatar? That's what we believe. That's something we brought up earlier in this
She
recap.
was.
The hippo
Oh.
was
She
it
was
was
flirty.
huh?
She was flirty.
She wasn't. I would, maybe if I didn't, if I wouldn't call it flirty right off, I could see it being flirty. She was definitely more open to Mark and kind of like
Yeah.
it was
Like, oh, first time. like I thought so.
it was nicely flirty, but you don't know when people are flirting with you, so
That's true.
no, you would not see it in the show if she was flirty with him. Hathor, is it Hathor or Hathor? And I'm sorry again if I butcher the names of these gods, but yeah. So I guess we don't know for sure if Hippo Lady is the
Gotcha.
same one, but we're hoping that there are some good links with her showing up at the end of the episode. We learned that just typically she has the ability to be healing and do some of the things that Conchukin does, and she chooses a hippo because they are so fiercely protective. So yeah, so
I got a question for. Oh, sorry, not to.
no, go for it. I was done.
How do you like your heroes? I think it's like it's the
Yeah.
Superman problem. I'll rephrase. How do you like your heroes with powers or without? Because like with the power, it can seem like, oh, I mean, like Wolverine is gonna regenerate, right? So like nothing's really gonna stop him unless like certain things are introduced, like the Maramusa blade can kill him or whatever. Like with Moon Knight, I always liked him because, all right, yeah, he can resurrect from Khonshu and whatnot, but like mans can still die. He gets hurt. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Which, all right, let's say like yeah, someone like Storm, she can still be hurt, but like she's an omega level mutant. There's just so many ways she can manipulate her power. There's just something that I always liked about. So I'm bringing it back to my man Daredevil, and I like he has a power, yeah, because it's like spatial awareness. He can manipulate that power, but it's nothing that like prevents him from getting his ass beat. And also his power is like because like his senses are heightened, and so like even if he throws a punch, in a sense like your sense of touch is heightened. That could also affect you as well. Like maybe he knows how to throw it correctly, but like this power can also hurt you. I prefer a hero like that. Like all right, if you have an ability, that shit can be like it's a double edged sword,
Mm.
or but not necessarily like always like the Batman type or as well. But like all right, you can have a power, but like I prefer if it like sometimes it can hinder you or it's something like small, not something like oh I can just blast everything on my way and it's everything's all good. Like I still like them to be able to like get hurt and shit, which is a big draw to me from Moon Knight because it's like oh this dude suffering from a mental illness,
Right.
apparently also a brain damage as well, which according to some how he's written in some, and dissociative identity disorder, and also there's the guy when he fights he'll take a hit if it means connecting with you, like who, which is that was commented upon by this one guy Taskmaster who can copy people's fighting styles. He's like, I'm not. He's like, I saw Moon Knight fight. I'm not doing that because he'll go into a punch just to hit you. Like, no, I'm okay.
Right. Right.
Like, how do you like your like? Do you like your heroes with an out, or do you prefer like the not? They don't always have to be like street level or whatever, but do you prefer like the oh, your power can be a hindrance, or just like no powers and like I'm just getting out of this with my fists and my wits?
I like a well-rounded hero. So like for me, okay, so like Storm being my favorite. One of the things I
Mhm.
really like about Storm is like all these powers that she has, and even how those powers can be broken down between what is part of her mutation and then what is part of her bloodline. Like and you can be like those are the same thing, but they're not. Like there's what she's descended from, and then there's the mutation as far as her powers are concerned. So she just has different ways of being powerful, but because she's well rounded and has other skills, because she can fight, because she can lead, and because she can do other things, like we know that she had the fight with Cyclops and she beat him. She had the fight with Callisto
Callisto.
for the Morlocks, nearly killed her, things like that. So I like powers because for me it is about the escapism. I think that superheroes that don't have powers are dope because we can have a wide range of heroes that can do different things. That's super awesome if you don't have powers like that and you're still out here kicking ass. That's great. But for me, being in the world of comics and movies and whatever, like I want a degree of escapism. I'm regular. I don't like saying that sentence out loud because I'm not. But for the purpose of this conversation, like as far as having powers and whatnot, like I'm a regular person. I don't necessarily want to see that a regular person do things in the show that I'm watching to be entertained. So it's just
Okay, that's interesting. Go ahead, keep going.
more judgment or more.
That's not judgment. They're like, oh, I'm regular, but like also like these are things you could also like train to do. So it's like, oh, someone being regular, but like there
Right.
was just
I
which
think
is
it's
something
just
that.
because I like the fantastic. I want the big
Mhm.
powers. I want, and for me as a kid, I also really love the X-Men because within one group there were so many different powers. You can have someone super strong. This one's shooting optic beams. She controls the weather. He can read minds. He's blue. Like there's there's so many. Right. So there's just I like the fantastic of that. Fucking Dazzler and Jubilee or like Emma Frost where they're just making up powers at this point. This bitch is sparkly where she's super sparkly. She can shoot the sparkles from her hands. What next? Like give me that fantasy aspect.
Mhm.
But I do agree with like the chat. For me, it's less about the powers, more about the personality and story. And Mike, Tony Design, likes his heroes with limited powers. I like big, huge powers, but still well-rounded enough to survive without the powers. And that for me is Storm. Proven time and time and again.
Without it
So.
again.
But you like the more down on street level because that seems
I
like
mean,
more your type in the muck scrapping.
yeah. I just want you in the, I just want you in the muck. Cause I'm just not like, cause like when Miles Morales started having this power where he could like the bioelectricity, it was almost like a get out of jail free card. Like, oh, you just release this, and then it was like it was what the fuck? Like before it was like a zap, and then like it was, but that was also bad writing or whatever. But like, yeah, I like the deal. Like, I got a bow and arrow, I'm gonna make this shit work. But also take the bow and arrow away, I can fuck you up. Like he fights like a
Right.
ninja. Steve Rogers like there's a there's an issue where they're like, oh shit, I know you could fight like that, Clint, when you took on the Ronin costume. And it's a flashback to Steve Rogers being like yo, y'all ain't shit. Basically, Steve is in everybody's face, y'all ain't shit if you can just rely on your powers so you're not properly trained. And then Hawkeye was like, no disrespect, sir, but you put anyone in front of me in my bow, it ain't gonna be a contest. And he goes, oh, is that right? He goes, let me see that. He goes, oh, this is really nice bow. Oh, you made it yourself? Yeah. Breaks it over his knee, hits him in the throat, and he drops. And he puts his boot on his head. And then he's like, Hawkeye, by the time I'm done with you, you're gonna be able to fight so good, your bow will be the last thing you're known for. And Hawkeye's just like, get off of me. Flashback when he's in the Ronin outfit, he's fucking niggas up. He is nasty with the hands. He is disgusting to a point where even other Avengers are like, were you always able to, Echo, who was the first one, was like, were you always able to fight like that? Like, what the fuck? And he's like, who trained? He's like, I was trained by the best. And it was Captain America. Like, he's legit, like, one of the best fighters on planet Earth.
That's
Like,
really cool. I never
appreciate.
knew that about Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah, and that's what I like. So like, I like a ceiling that I have to fight against, which is kind of weird because I'm not a big Batman fan where it's like, oh, I'm prepared for everything. But I like Spider-Man's cool. Like, all right, you got a sense of danger coming around you, but like it doesn't always. It's not telling you where. Spider-Man's pretty perfect. Like it's the abilities are kind of limited. Like all right, I had to design these webs. Cool. A bullet can still kill me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I know where the bullet. Like, all right, I know a bullet's coming, but
A bullet's coming,
I have to be
but
fast enough to dodge it. Yeah, I gotta be.
right.
If I'm off on one day and I take a hit, like. I'm done. Like it happened in Ultimate Universe. He pushed Steve Rogers out the way of a bullet that was meant for him. He took it right through the side of his right through his side. Then he went on to fight the Green Goblin. He dumped a Mack truck on the Green Goblin. He's like, I'm done. He's like, I'm literally spent, and that's how he died. And he's like, he died in his aunt's arms. He's like, I couldn't save Uncle Ben, but I saved you. I did it, and that was like one of the best send offs ever for comic book hero. Of course, he's brought back later on because that's when Miles Morales takes over, and then he's brought back later on, which is also bad writing. But like that was like one of the dopest send offs like ever, like a true hero send off. And like all of New York comes out to like for his funeral and shit. Like it's crazy. And then May slaps Steve Rogers. He's like, "Oh, you're supposed to train him and shit, but you didn't do shit. You ridiculed him and emasculated him, and then he saved your life." Spat in his face. Jeez, I think she spat in his face and slapped Tony. She did one of those.
She spat in his face and slapped.
She didn't spat in his face, or she slapped him. But I think she spit on dude. Like she was. Aunt May was like, "Nah, you took my boy. That was my kid. Like,
Absolutely.
He did all these." Like
I wouldn't do it, but I understand. I wouldn't spit on somebody, but I would understand.
I think she might. She would have slapped her or spit on him. But I was like, "God damn, Aunt May raw." But like, yeah, like that's a good degree of like, oh, you can do all these things. But like, if a bullet can kill you, I like that. Like, oh, all these godlike powers and bullets bouncing off you. I'm like, all right. Unless it's some other guy with like godlike powers or whatever, or magic or something. But like, that's my thing.
Isn't that ultimately why they decided to kind of kill Jean Grey so long ago? She was just so powerful to the point that like we can't use her in anything because bitch is too fucking powerful. Like what's the
That's also the I guess maybe a paradox in a sense, right? Oh, we create this character, can go to more and more power. Ah, shit. Well, they killed her off. They're like, all right, the Phoenix is an entity that whatever. It's like separate from the Phoenix. You know what I mean? Like, all right, we can do it that way. Cool. But yeah, that's also a problem. If someone becomes too powerful, you know. I've never been a fan of someone like, oh, I have these powers, but like, okay, but the powers go away. You can't fight. So if your powers like you already might have these powers, like, okay, but you still don't know how to fight. So like, even though you're super strong, you can still get taken out because you can't fight. And I hate the whole like on The Boys with Huey when he's like, oh, he's the heart of the team. In the comic books, he has powers and he learns how to fight. On the TV show on Amazon Prime, no powers, and he's just like, but they keep him around because he's like the most supported team. No, you're a fucking liability.
Ooh, yeah.
Teach this motherfucker how to fight. Teach him how to fuck. Oh, he's the conscious of the team. Fuck a conscious. Teach him how to fight. This man can't shoot a gun. He can't do. You know what I mean? What the fuck do you bring to the like? This is a conversation. When we're talking Black Ops shit, that's when you talk about a table. That's when you talk about bringing shit to a table. Not a relationship. When niggas' lives on the line, what the fuck do you bring to the group?
That is another skit idea. Hold on, we gotta write that up.
Yeah, man. Like, I cannot stand that. Oh, they're the heart of the team. Can he throw hands? No. Can he hack shit? No. Can he shoot a gun? No. Why the fuck are you here? Can you like impersonate people? No.
So
you sound like you need to get in the fucking. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. You keep going. Yeah. You go.
It's like it sounds like you should be doing the fucking food run. What the fuck can you? Oh, but I'm like, no. If you can, the baseline is you have to be able to fucking fight. Yeah, I can't be like we're out here in a group and shit. You're over here caught in the corner or getting jumped. What are you doing? What are you doing?
That is another really great idea. Just like the errand boy for like a superhero team, and he's just like in the background, like, yeah. I file the taxes because we spend a lot of money.
Exactly. Everybody remember Cypher from the X-Men? Doug Ramsey. You're proving the point right now because he's called like the worst X-Man, right? Because his ability was to understand any language. That's his abilities.
Damn.
He wasn't like the best fighter or anything, but like that's his ability. So he's like Uhura from fucking Star Trek. She's the comms. Like he breaks down communications shit. Like it's still a valuable thing. Okay, you're on the X-Men. Unless you're being covered by the team to break into something and like break down a language or some shit, you are a goddamn liability.
Right.
And then his ability like they got more introspective with his ability because then he started training and shit, and he's like, oh, I'm not able to read any language. I can read body language. I know what you're gonna do before you fucking do it. And he became nasty and fight him. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. There you go. Had to use your ability a little bit differently, but now, yep, as long as you can fight. As long as you can fucking fight, we're okay. You know what I mean? And he became fucking nasty.
The person that created him, was that the same person that ultimately gave him that shift in his power or how to use it, or this was a different creator?
I'm not sure, but I don't think so. I think he was. I forgot who was. I don't know if he was. He might have been created by Chris Claremont. When the issue I saw where he was like fucking motherfuckers up, it wasn't. I don't think it was Claremont writing that, so I don't think so.
I think that's very interesting because I love how maybe one writer can write a character that's very weak, and then somebody else just kind of goes, okay, I can do something with this. I really love how in some cases comic books are collaborative efforts across decades that way.
Yeah.
Or like you're saying that a certain character, or even to like take Wanda and House of M and the No More Mutants thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when they did that all those years ago, you said it was 12 years, all those years
Yeah.
ago, it felt like this is very final and in this moment.
Yeah.
12 real fucking, and this is not
Yeah.
12 years within the Marvel Comics
Nope.
universe. This
12
is
real years.
12 real like fucking human ass years
Mm-hmm.
for another writer to come by and be like, you know what? I'm gonna undo this and
Yeah.
still work with that as opposed to just completely retconning, which we know happens as well in comic books. I much prefer where they take the threads of what happened before and find a way to work it out. And I think it's fascinating when you say something like a character has been dead for so many years and like decades later they come back and like that
That's
to me is just really cool. I don't know. I don't know if
indeed.
that happens in any other medium, but comic books are dope for that reason.
Like I told you, like the X-Men found a loophole for like bringing back people now, because like these mutants that use their powers, like okay, well, if you die, we have your consciousness stored in Cerebro. We
Mm-hmm.
can recreate. We can. There's five. They're called the Five. They basically like they can bring you back to life by like basically creating a clone of you. Mr. Sinister has a genetic material. We take that. We put you in this guy created gold balls. He just created gold balls, but you find out oh they're actually embryos in a sense. You use them as embryos. We develop your body inside the embryo. We speed up time and shit like that. All each of the five mutants using their abilities to bring you back. You come out. We give you the memory of the last thing you remember. But like the last time you remember was backed up. Oh shit, I'm back. Like that's a good way to like Hickman thought of this. It's a good way to circumvent death. And so the X-Men, one of the first, I think it was the first X-Men that died. James Proudstar, Thunderbird, this native dude who was also, I think he was in Korea, maybe fought in Nam, ex-military. He was told he went to chase down this villain on a plane, almost like a suicide by grand gesture or whatever, which got explored later on. He dies on the plane, and the villain escapes. And then they're like, oh shit, maybe it was like a cry for help that he went and did that. Like we told him not to go. Like and it's like, oh shit, like it's some deep shit, whatever. And like he's buried with his people. He's Apache. His brother becomes an X-Man. Joins X-Force. That his name is James. James is the brother. John's the older brother. John died. James becomes an X-Man and shit. They brought John back. Like this dude's been dead for nearly. I want to. Is it? It was 48 years. Bucky was gone for like some 50 years. I think John Proudstar was dead for like some 46 or 42 years, something like that. But he's back now, and there's been a reunion with his brother.
Yeah.
And it's still, and also a really dope thing is Nyla Rose, who's native, and she's a wrestler. She's a trans woman that's a wrestler in AEW. She's gonna be writing the story. It drops this week, Wednesday. She'll be writing a story about him being back and getting a new uniform and shit like that. Her and Steve Orlando, who's a veteran writer, they're teaming up to write that story. And it's like, yo, I always fucked with like I really liked him, but I was a kid. I didn't know like how to really find back issues. I always heard about him, but like, oh shit, now it's dope. Like technology. Now I got the like ability to like go back and read old issues about him and see him come back. Like yo, it's been like some 40 years you've been gone. Bucky was dead the longest, and then this guy was dead the longest over in Marvel. At least like that's crazy. Like you were like the first X-Man to die, and now he's back. And like all right, so what's and my man's personality did not change. My man, when Xavier asked him for help, he called him like fucking. What did he call him? He called him like custard. He was like, "Wait out of here!" I'm never this for a white dude like that. I was like, "What the fuck?" My man's like, "Oh, the white man needs something from me. Let me get your custard ass out of here." I was like, "Yo!" But then he does join up and shit. It's really like, but he's back and he still has that same chip on his fucking shoulder. He did not like. He's still that fucking guy, and I'm like, "Oh, I am so excited for this." And when we saw him reunite with his brother, he's like, "Oh," he's like, "Why weren't you there when I got brought back? Why weren't you there to greet me?" He's like, "Oh, I had to get your room ready for you." He's like, and James is taller than him now, so younger brother is taller than him, and he's like, "What's the real reason?" And he's like, "I didn't get to avenge you, man. I never avenged you, and I thought I didn't do you proud." And he's like, "Idiot," and he just holds him and and hugs him, and like I'm like, "Oh, this is." I cannot fucking wait for this issue to drop. I'm so excited. But yeah, like
really dope.
Good, a good way to bring him back.
Can you imagine? Because you said like they reload from the memory of like the last thing you remember. Can you imagine if you were like in the middle of a conversation though, and you're just like, and I told him, Can you just imagine if that's what you came
You,
back
you cut
with?
out, so I didn't hear the punchline because you cut out for it. I
There
didn't
was no,
hear.
that was the whole thing. Just realizing that you come back in the middle, but the last thing you remember was like a sentence you were saying at the moment of your
Oh.
death.
Like I was saying, right? So this
So
motherfucker.
anyway, girl, like that would be me.
There's also people you can come back and like Domino. She was taken and like skinned for her ability and shit. Like they tortured her for it. She died and she's like she came back. She told the five, I don't want to remember this.
Right, right,
And so
right.
like you can get rid of the trauma in a sense as well. And then she was like, they're like, how do you feel? It's like a faint memory. It doesn't really bother me like it did when I knew it happened to me. But it's like a I know it happened, but like it's
Yeah.
not a part of me anymore. So like there's a lot of interesting things they're doing around death as well. Because like oh you can make these modifications to your body or like oh, like one guy's like I want to come back hairless. And it's like all right man like. Quentin Quire, he's like, I don't want any hair. I'm like, all right, man, I want my cuticles to be like, bro. They're like, no, like, we got so there are millions of mutants we got to bring back, and some people like jump ahead of the queue as well. Like, oh, you're special forces, we need you. All right, we gotta get
I
this
know
rocket. It's
exactly. I'd be like, okay, so when I was 20, I had a breast reduction, but somewhere around 32, they grew
I mean,
back. I'm gone. I want an A cup.
so it's a lot of things to explore within that. There's not to keep. I'll just mention this last part. Yeah, X Men Inferno. Heck, they're gonna talk about X Men Inferno was insane. The last part, I'll say like you're talking about, oh, people bringing someone back. Like Hal Jordan was taken away from being the Green Lantern in 1993 when he like went crazy because his city was bombed, and he turned on the Green Lantern Corps and he was called the Greatest Green Lantern, right? He redeems himself in '96 when he becomes this other hero called the Spectre, who's like the Vengeance of God. This is over in DC, and so it wasn't until 2004. Yeah, it was I was gonna say 2006. It was 2004 when Jeff Johns does Green Lantern Rebirth and finds a way to bring Hal Jordan back. They find a way to bring him back from the dead. Like, oh, Hal didn't really go crazy. He was infected by this parasite that's as old as time, and like it made his hair gray, which he thought it was just happening with age. That's actually fear that happened. It wasn't because he started calling himself Parallax. Oh, this is and Kyle Rayner, who was the last Green Lantern, finds he finds this ancient thing, and so like that's a whole big reason to be brought back. But like for 10 years there were motherfuckers. It was called this group called Heat, which was a acronym for like basically bringing Hal Jordan the Green Lantern. So like they were petitioning for 10 years, and like it's so funny like how
Wait, 10
he
real
was there for
life
10 years.
years?
10 real life years. He was gone
Oh,
for like maybe
okay.
13. He came back in 2004. He died in '93. So 11, about 11 years, about 11 years. And it's so funny, like to be alive within that time, and like because he was like the Green Lantern back when he was in the '60s and shit. And so to have been alive through this long ass time, like some people have died without their favorite Green Lantern being like, there's the new
Right.
Green Lantern now. And now like, but Hal's not the greatest Green Lantern. Everyone calls him that because he's the first of that iteration or whatever. But like John Stewart's a lot better. But like but whatever. I mean, but objective, whatever. But like people petitioning for that, and like Kyle Rayner became so that's 10 years of Kyle becoming the Green Lantern. But then Kyle brought everyone. He brought like everything that Hal Jordan took away. Kyle brought back. He
Mm.
brought the Guardians back. He brought the planet back because he had all the power for himself, but he gave it away to restart the Green Lantern Corps
Mm.
back again. And he's the one that brought back Hal Jordan. He's like, yo, you better fucking be worth it. He found his corpse out the sun. He was buried with honors and shit. Brought him and found a way to bring him back and shit. And then it got the band back together. So it was now John, Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, and Kyle joining them. And now it's like, all right, we're back. And now we're fighting this new this new villain that's been so old with her. But like, I think that was a mistake. I think he should have stayed dead and like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you gave him an excuse for like going like turning like this is the same year that Superman died. Superman died, Batman got his back broken, and then
Mm.
Hal Jordan went crazy and turned on his own in a sense. I think he should have stayed. I think that I mean it's great. It was done really well, but like I think a story is more impactful. Like you got to live with that.
Mm.
Same as when Barry Allen was dead for. Barry Allen died in 1985. He came back in 2010, 15, maybe
Wow.
whenever Final Crisis was, maybe 2010. But he was dead for maybe some 20, 25, 26 years, something like that. And he was like one of the longest dead. He was like it was a rule because Wally West is the only one to take the mantle of the hero because Barry was dead. So
Right.
he's the only like sidekick to become like the actual like hero. So like it was dope how he came back because Wally looks behind him and he just sees Barry chasing this bullet and he's like run and I'm immediately I see Barry I see this I don't know what's going on but he says run and I am running right beside him like it's just like when we were a Kid Flash and back when I was a sidekick like he says it I do it immediately and we run to the end of time and he's like what's going on and then Barry's telling him how he's back and he's like well we can run to the, like if death is chasing us we can just run to the end of time I've done it before I've outrun death before and Barry looks at him and smiles like I'm sure you have and it's like oh like but like you've done all these dope things, but like oh, fucking daddy's back. Like it's a really also it's pride. It was pride. Like I'm sure you have, but like he's done the most as a speedster and shit like that. But like he was gone for like 20 some odd years. Bucky's probably the longest
I'm sorry,
character
real
to stay
quick.
dead.
But so in
Yeah,
that moment, did they outrun the bullet?
right.
Okay, you left me
It
hanging.
was a
Like
hor- Sorry, it was a horrible fucking Final Crisis wasn't really done great.
I
Well, it
know it
was
wasn't the point, but I was like, you done set
oh
that
yeah,
up,
yeah.
and he looks behind and sees. I'm
It
just
was
like,
just
so
so
what
dope. It was
happened
just so dope
next?
seeing Death is chasing him. There's this black dude on skis, the black racer, whatever. And he's running and he's like chasing this bullet and he's just like and Wally's just like I just turn around. He's like what? He's like run. And he's like I don't question it. I don't ask anything. I just do it. And right there I'm running beside my idol again. Just like when I feel like I'm just like a teen or whatever. And he's like talking to him and it's just so dope. He was like if we can just run to the end of time. We get to the meetings. I've done it before. I've beaten death before. He's like
You know
I'm
what
sure
I
you have.
picture? Who's running alongside of him? the
Who?
the cameraman.
Oh yeah. I'm the fastest man in the world, cameraman. Fuck him.
It's the I got you. That one for me.
All right, but
Um,
not long nerd rant.
no, we love the nerd rants. I appreciate the nerd rants, and for me, like especially like the Flash story, it's very Jordan retelling David and Goliath in his
Oh
book,
yeah, man.
where I'm just like, I don't
Bigelow is
care if
black.
it's known, I don't know if it's a story, like something about you telling it was just like, and then what
Right.
happened? Like, tell me more, nigga. Don't
Like you
stop
know what
now.
happens. You know what happens. I know what the fuck I do. Not the
I
way you're
wanted
telling it.
you to tell me what.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, DC brought them because of the core fan base, but that's another
Yeah.
story. Ooh.
Yep. You're right.
And then some things that we missed in the chat. Storm will stab you. He's blue is not the best power. No, it wasn't. I feel like it adds more stakes. I think that was around the time of us talking about having a hero that wasn't as powered. It does add more stakes. What I wanted to say, just to touch on that, that is one reason why I did really enjoy the Black Widow movie. And some things that they even pointed out in that movie when she was just like, none of the other Avengers have to take an ibuprofen after getting in a fight. So when she's
Yeah.
like, when will one of the bigger Avengers come? And she's like, what you mean a bigger Avenger? So I think that they did that for all the stuff about Black Widow and all the problems with it. I do think that they did a really good job of finding that balance of she is a regular fucking person as far as like superheroes and gods and people go. So I did really like the way that they do that. Huey's,
Mhm.
or it's why I hated the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. I didn't see that. Was there some tomfoolery in that movie where they were
There's a good
superheroes?
animation of them, but like maybe some of the Michael Bay ones.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about those movies except when April O'Neil goes to take a picture and like you supposed to be a journalist, right? Like that's what your goal is. Why is
Mhm.
your phone not on silent? You sneaking around trying to get sneaky pictures of people and you didn't put your shit on vibrate? Sis, I could do a better job
Looking
than
sick.
that. That's
You know,
funny.
in the original comic, she's black and
Shut
curly
up.
hair.
Shut your mouth.
I was at Fan Bros. I think there's a panel they were talking about it, and there's a picture of her. In the original one, she's black with long curly hair. And then the TV show, they're like, oh well, we're just gonna there's a remake where they make her black again.
I did see
You
that and
know,
I was like, progressive. I didn't know
she was
that.
originally black.
It was just
Hmm.
oh my
Yeah,
god.
you see the old school pick like that '80s shit. That fucking
Hell the
that's not
fuck
Janet Jackson.
yes.
That's a
Wait
little bit of
a minute.
yeah.
That's I don't this is as best as I can get it. But
Hmm.
and the color is kind of blown out. But nah, that's a black woman.
Yep, not light skin. She was dark skin. She was. And Scott Pilgrim, they're all people of color before they were turned white as well. Brian Lee O'Malley was told to be they'd sell better if it was white, and he's like, I'll never ever do that again. they're all I think Pacific Islander, which is why I'm like, why did I resonate with this so much? Yeah.
That's wild. I would have
Yes,
never
sir.
ever known. That's the people of does the internet know this? Has someone made a
Yeah.
TikTok?
I don't know the TikTok about it. No.
Someone
You
needs
can search it.
to.
I don't think that's I think that might be a little too niche for TikTok, but
The niche stuff goes off. Please stop it.
we're here for the niche.
Huh?
We are here for the niche.
We're here for the niche. So yeah, I think that's great. Thank you again for having this. Even though we wrapped up the conversation quite a long time ago, and then we went right back into it.
No
But
problem.
yeah, we're gonna take a break because I believe in stretching in between doing stuff, even if no one else does. So we're gonna take a break, and then we're gonna come back and play some Ghost of Tsushima. So
Just as she enters, right
yeah,
on time.
the
Right on
timing.
time. Yeah. Oh no, we're not done. We just got done talking about Moon Knight. We're talking about Moon Knight in comics.
That was a good
We have not
combination.
played Tsushima yet. Oh.
Oh, she
They want to
can't
see you
hear
on
you.
camera.
Yeah, we absolutely put her on camera.
Put her on camera.
We want. Because it was the way
I
that
didn't
you.
have it.
Hi! It was the way that you ran over.
I know. I was very excited. Oh, thought I was going to miss Tsushima entirely.
No, we've
How
been
was the
having
chat?
some
I did
good
an
old
horrible impression of your
conversation.
accent.
The last episode of Moon Knight was a lot.
It was.
It was a lot.
But I'm securing the fancy venues for when you come and visit, so I can take you out to the fancy Manhattan places.
I appreciate
You and Mama Star Child.
the fancy Manhattan places. We appreciate you.
I'm building it out. I'm building. Oh, my
good.
sister's calling.
All right, we can take that break now.
So we're gonna
And
take
then
a
I'm ready to
break.
play. I can play.
Yay! So she's gonna play. We're gonna take a break. So as we get set up and whatnot, it might be a little bit longer of a break, but
Okay.
we'll. That wasn't for you, Omar. That was for the people watching us.
Yeah, I was like, Tasha gets back. Oh, shut up, over. All right, cool. All right. I know my ranking has just. All right, there we go. The order, the natural
you
order.
saw me changing the overlay and taking Tasha's name out, crying the whole time.
I get it.
I did go back and recenter your name. I was gonna have it like in the middle of the thing, so it partially obscured your face.
Perfect. I get it.
We're here for Tasha on the stream. Okay, so yeah, we will be right back.